What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else.
Welcome everybody to day number 4 of the 777 Esports Invitational League with myself, Imperium. And I'm not alone, as you can see to my right. I think that's right. I think it's right. I think it's right. I think it's to my right. I don't know. Either way, I'm joined by the wonderful DKZA. How are you doing, my friend?
Funny yourself, my man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we've never casted together, so it's going to be quite interesting. But you, of course, have a lot of experience with quite a good few of these South African teams. So I'm really looking forward to kind of hearing your insights and maybe getting a little bit of a bigger picture of what you're expecting and what you see within these games.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super interesting. I was watching the games yesterday, seeing how the teams were performing. So, yeah, there's quite a bit of fire. I'm quite excited to see what the teams are going to be doing and how they're going to be pushing on. You know, it's fantastic to see the teams being put on a platform like this where they can actually get in and practice, you know, participate against each other and, you know, just kind of weigh themselves up and to see where they are sitting and what it is that they need to be working on.
Especially with it being and I mentioned this yesterday, because it's a league format, I really think it's very healthy for developing the long-term sustainability of a team's attitude and mentality and even just, you know, competitive spirit. Because in a lot of tournaments you have, like, you know, this round going into a quarterfinal, going to the semis, going to the final. That's all well and good, but you know, when you get to the stage of PMPL, although there's kind of week by week where you do have to make it through to weekly finals, if you do consistently, you are going, like, you know, you're essentially in a league stage format in that regard. So this kind of stage, this kind of platform is indeed massive for these teams. We are going to have 4 games up for you guys. Game 1 is going to be on Erangel, Game 2 on Sanhok, Game 3 on Miramar, and then ending it all once again on Miramar. Let's take a look at the overall standings coming into today's games, and lo and behold, I'm not really surprised. G3 Temper, winning 3 games yesterday, are on the top of the table. However, KHK, DKZA, the exact same points.
Yeah. And it's pretty impressive to see the teams all, you know, sitting there tied with the same amount of points in first and second place. And the difference being 4 kills and 4 wins and 2 wins.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
So
So-
it does show that KHK maybe being a little bit more consistent with their results, and G3 have kind of stuttered it over the first couple of days. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you do eventually end up getting the results you needed to be up there with the best and at the top of the table. And even the fact, right, DKZA, that there's a 51 point difference dividing first and second and third down below, that is a massive cushion for both G3 and KHK to have on their hands.
But what's interesting to see also is there's not such a big difference with regards to the amount of kills that the teams have been able to acquire.
Yeah.
Right? So that all basically comes down to placement points. You know, the consistency of the teams coming in, consistently placing in decent placement to be able to acquire those points and keep them up where they are. 51 points. That's quite a big difference.
It really is.
Especially 12 games in.
Especially because, like, Sign 4KT, right, they won the African PMCO, right? And
yeah,
you know, okay, they're not doing bad. They're in third, but again, that point difference, we have to highlight how massive it is. So Sign 4KT should be coming into today's games going, you know, we cannot let that deficit, we cannot let that cushion get higher. We cannot let that gap go even more in the opposite direction. So they will be looking to come out swinging, much like G3 Temper did in yesterday's games. Looking down towards the middle of the pack, we have Gamers United Nations in 7th, Arda Killing Esports in 8th, and Lag Esports in 9th. All those teams definitely haven't done bad, but you can see that there is there's a much closer disparity between the middle of the pack teams, where a good result can really have a massive effect.
Yeah. But what's also interesting is, you know, we were talking about the leaderboard. So Slime 4KT, they've been able to make it into 3rd place without a single win. So that already speaks quite a bit to how they've been performing leading up to this point.
It really does. It really does. Well, let's, without a further ado, start this game number 1 in Erangel and see what goes down. That playing path is pretty solid, DKZA. It is towards the middle of the map in a diagonal direction, north to south. So bar the far eastern side, like Milta Power Milta, actually even then Milta is going to be pretty okay. These teams just generally get to where they want to.
Yeah, this is a very, very decent flight path. I like it sometimes when we've got a flight path like this. You know, it enables the teams to really get into those positions they like to frequent, they like to drop into.
Yep.
But I'd also like to see the flight path at times, you know, just adding that extra element of difficulty, just moving into one of the extreme edges. But so I'm hoping with this one that when the zone forms, that we've got a fairly interesting zone, just to kind of complement the flight path. Yeah. So far, it's very decent. The teams can get into all their spots. And of course, KHK going straight up in towards Saverny. No surprise on that front. But I'm hoping that zone brings in that extra element, just maybe a little bit of a shift to one of the extremes.
For sure. We are seeing two teams dropping Rozhog to kick things off. And while these teams are looking to settle each other, I did also notice that Blackjack Esports, who yesterday had dropped against Payne in Pachinki, have opted to not drop in that city with Payne, and they're recognizing that, okay, it's not really worthwhile. We didn't really lose those battles. Adapting on the drop is always important when you're looking at a competitive PUBG Mobile. However, Outsiders and Yonkous, for me, Yonkous are much better set up to take that fight. I do like the spread from Outsiders, but it's much easier for them to get picked off one by one. So I would like to see Swave join up with Pounds and Aimbot just to add a little bit more strength in the center of Rozhog.
They've got a very decent positioning. You know, we've seen the Outsiders numerous times. They sometimes take a bit of a more spreaded approach, but they're really good at providing that extra cover. You know, that extra level of, just to make sure that everything is going where they kind of need it to be going. Like they're able to have that backup without being too close, to avoid kind of opening themselves up to those opportunities where a molly or a nade could be sent in, and in turn then sending them into the lobby.
I'd like to see Kato utilize the left side of Rozhok a little bit more effectively and look to even wrap behind the Yonkous players or directly beside them across the road. He has been effective for now with that DP20. I think he got a couple of shots on towards Jerba. Now he is repositioning to another one of those buildings to try and get a different angle. And I think that's really important because he has to keep Yonkous on his toes because on one hand, of course, he has that side angle play, but it means that the core players from outside, especially if Swaif hasn't joined up with aimbot or Pounds, are just a little bit exposed compared to the side of Yonkous in the center of in the center of Rozhok. As aimbot does kick things off by knocking down Julmek. Julmek is further away from the rest of the team. I can't see that revive coming on through DKZA.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough position to be in. I would have liked to see a little bit of more support over towards Yulmenk instead of having the team split up the way they are. So I would have preferred to see possibly 3 players in front with one holding back.
Sure. Yep.
Instead of the other way around, because that approach cost them the player.
It did.
There's no way I can see them now moving in.
Yeah, and because it was directly in front of them, it wasn't really providing any real like flank angle benefit like Kato was. Now, we will talk about the fight a little bit more, and as much as I do want to give it due attention, we have to talk about that phase 1, right? DK, that is a military island phase 1.
Man, we've seen this so many times, especially with the southern zones, right? So you see G3 already moving into the position over towards that eastern bridge. And every time the zone shifts to the south, like we see now for phase 1, that is where you see them go. I'm expecting some pretty hot and spicy plays to be coming in from this, just based on where that zone is and the teams we are currently seeing within the zone. Because we know they can move in, set up some beautiful bridge camps, get that ambush set up, kind of prepped. Man, I'm so looking forward to seeing where the teams are going to be rotating, especially the ones that are still to make their way into zone.
For lag who are in Primorsk, I'd recommend a botation. Go to the southern part of Military Island. Use the high ground. Be out of sight, out of mind. I love the fact that G3 Temper have gone for an early rotation. They did drop and farm, so they were always going to be close to that eastern bridge. And plus with that plane path, it was going to always create a little bit more of a spread. Teams in the northern half of the circle, west and east side of the map. Between Gunners and Nibble on Yasnaya, between Unique, Slime 4KT and Aphelion Apex on the western side, so automatically more space for G3 to enter the military island unscathed, untouched.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see them rotating up further than that initial spot that we're seeing them moving into now. It doesn't really go along with their gameplay. We usually see them, just hovering in and about that bridge region. But I'm excited to see what's going to be happening with these teams moving in from the north. I mean, we've got the players there from Yonkous on the move. We still have the team alongside them up in Rozhok, so they haven't really concluded much of that fight. The outside is still holding on there. But the Dragons are starting to move up. Gun slowly but surely starting to make their way out of Yasnaya. So I'm keen to see where the teams are going to be pushing on into. Knowing the rotations of the opponents. They've played so many games together in the past. So they kind of know where to expect them. So I'm hoping on the one side that the opposing teams kind of changes that up. But also I would like to see how the teams that are pushing in, rotating into those potential positions, how they're going to take those approaches and try to utilize that and make that work in their favor.
Pain, they've gone for early enough rotation to go to the western bridge. I like the fact that Nibble is utilizing the coastal line and the mainland just to try and get a little bit of information. And let's be fair, as much as I mentioned it's going to be a military island Well, I didn't mention it was going to be Military Island finish. It is a Military Island circle. A good bit of that mainland is massively in play, right? You could stick to the coastline and mainland for the first couple of phases. It does obviously put a little bit more risk, but you can do it. You can pull it off.
They definitely could. And I mean, I think we'll have a better idea once all the teams have kind of made their way into the zone. And we can see what we're sitting with before that zone shifts up once again. But for the time being, the teams we've got in zone, I mean, they are really capable of defending their positions and really, you know, setting up a decent defense, you know, so they can really capitalize on their placement. So what I'm looking to see is how the teams that are yet to rotate in, how they're going to take that a push, because it seems like Lag is coming in with that rotation.
And that makes sense. That 110% makes sense. I also like the fact that AOK has sent 2 players into the Military Island early on. You do still have Manfilaz across on the mainland outside the circle, but that kind of, you know, that 2-man push on the western side does make sense. Pain have pushed across the bridge, but there's a little bit of a cheeky bridge count coming on through. El Chapo disengages away from the vehicles. Hanad is knocked down as well. That's going to be a beautiful bridge count from Blackjack Esports. It's also ironic with the fact that both of these teams yesterday did drop in Bichinki, and Blackjack avoided them on the drop, and they've been able to pick Pain off. Nicely done by Blackjack. That was very intelligent play between a differentiation of the drop spot and looking at bridge camp Pain inside this Military Island.
But Blackjack is really good at defending bridges, you know, defending a position that they move on into. And it's interesting to see how Pain is approaching this one. I mean, we've got Zane over here just running around, trying to get those hits. He's trying to find the angle in on the players here. And I mean, for the time being, they're pretty spread out, but it's not.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Same with the Thompson. Getting that second knock. Now it's just Kingaman that, as far as I know, is left on his own 4. This side of Pain, but a beautiful nade. A beautiful nade from the side of Blackjack. Gets a double kill. And once again, it is Kingaman left on his own. The sole survivor. And now Blackjack know this. Cheddar's going to join up with Zane. And they are indeed going to look for the breach. Look for that squad wipe. That push is going to come on through. The smokes are, of course, being played. Jumping in on towards the truck. Now it's going to be that drop in through. And Cheddar takes down Kingham, and Pain are wiped off the lobby. Good play by Blackjack.
Yeah. That's a tough spot to be pushing onto. I mean, especially on the bridge. Knowing who you have on that bridge and how they can defend a position. No surprise, you know, that it turned out the way it did, but well done there to Blackjack, putting up a beautiful defense. And now we're seeing a few more teams starting to move up towards the bridges. You know, that zone being inclusive once again of the east and the western bridge.
Okay.
This is going to be spicy.
This is a good circle shift, though. Let's be fair. It's not a bad circle shift. You do still have the mainland in play, but honestly, yeah, KHK are going for an instant full send across the water early on based on this circle shift, which makes sense. Nibbles are going to look to send 2 players on towards the western side of the bridge, but we've already seen Gun look to encapsulate the area. The lighthouse train is going to be held onto by Vindog. He's going to wait to find those shots. That's a beautiful knock by Vindog with the help of his teammate across on the bridge, looking for more sprays, but don't go over peak, Vindog. Do not over peak while Ronnie picks up and confirms that kill.
Yeah, this is once again now a tough position for Gun, because now they're caught in between Nibble and Blackjack on the opposite end. You know, so if they escape this fight, they are purely just going to be rotating into yet another fight. And I mean, the odds are kind of counting against them. And we see a beautiful positioning coming in here from Ronnie and Vindog up on the hill. And just really being able to capitalize on the shot. Ooh,
So
look at
good
Willie.
by Vindog, and then Willie pushes forward. That's good coordination. That's good teamwork, and also that is a fast-paced engagement as well. Because if you hang around, not only is there a chance that Nibble could get caught out, but it's just confirming those kills, creating a little bit more control, a lot more space. You do still need to take down the last player gun, and if I were you, NTX, I would jump down into the water. There's no point staying there. You're not doing anything. I know you can technically shoot, but just jump into the water, man. Survive as a fishy in the sea.
And this is a tough position for Gun to be in because the fight drew the attention of Blackjack.
Yes.
So regardless, if he's going to stay on that bridge, his time is very limited. But now Blackjack is also starting to scan the water. So they are very aware of what position they could actually take, where the team's going to try and move into. And they're ready to... I mean, there they go.
Yep.
Wrap it up.
Yep. That is
Now it's
a
Nibble.
kill. A kill from Blackjack onto the final player of Gun. And Nibble will know that as well. That's good information from Nibble. Really good information from Nibble. Players are starting to swim into the water. We also see a fight breaking out between Unique and KHK on towards the mainland. An initial knock, initial kill coming out. That's going to be Slime 4KT going down to just two players. Pronto and Fax taken off the board just like that. Cola Boy and Mongor Park are left on their own.
And this is yet again going to be a very tricky rotation for them because with that down goes Monga. So everything is now riding on Cola Boy, but we see the players from Unique already starting to push. So Sunny, yes, and his teammate, they're already making that rotation, going out, looking for those engagements, looking for the fights. And that is what you want. And that is why I'm enjoying watching this, because the teams, they don't sit around and wait for an opportunity to come to them. They go out, they move, they make the switches, just find the hits. Ooh.
Last player, Slime 4KT, still trying to look for the shots up, but not making them work in his favor. The blue zone is closing in on phase 2 to enter into phase 3, of course. As I mentioned, teams working their way into the military island from the western side, Aphelion, Apex, Lag Esports, and you have the wonderful folks over at AOK. They have gotten their third player across. Dark Dragons in a strong southerly military island position on towards the higher hills, just to the south of the main military base road, and they're setting up really nicely for phase 3.
Yeah, they're in a very decent position for that. And in fact, all the teams that we see in the more centralized portion of that Sosnovka military base, I think they might be pretty safe when we move into phase 3. I don't see a too crazy shift coming in there from the zone, but it's going to be interesting with the team still having to try and make those rotations that are still situated on the mainland. If the zone shifts further south or just closes in on itself, they're going to have a pretty tough time finding their way over onto the Sosnovka island. And those rotations on that far western side, here we go, the shots are coming in from Lag. No lag on their end, but they're definitely trying to get the shots in towards Nibble as they try to find that rotation on in.
Fantasy, turn around and look at the water. Your teammates are flying up towards Nibbles. Why aren't you taking the shots off? Come on, Fantasy, get your head in the game. You had a DP28, you could have thrown down and taken those shots off. Nibble, I can't believe they got away with it, though. They genuinely got away with it.
Yeah. And that is sometimes the beauty of the situation, is if you watch the replay afterwards, you just realize how close you were to actually maybe getting a full squad wipe.
The next circle does shift over on towards the northwest, but it is definitely that military island. I'm going to pan on over to this fight between Unique and Outsiders. Unique are looking to clean up another squad into this area. Currently on 4 kills, Skydo has gone down, unfortunately. And Sunny is cooking up a grenade to go right inside the building that the players from Outsiders are presumed to be. But it's a big couple of compounds, and Unique do not have all the information required, as aimbot does take a little bit of a tickle.
They're looking pretty strong, still sitting on all 4 players. The players from the outsiders, we've already seen that first initial knock and thirst coming in. Now we're looking to see what they're going to be doing as the players from Unique are pushing up in a beautiful 2-2 split.
Lovely flank by Swave. Beautiful flank by Swave DK. Using that beach line and the clearance that provides in a wonderful way. Now, Sunny does respond extremely quickly with that nade to knock down Kato, so it is being returned quite well. Vortex and Sunny now flanking around, looking to put the pressure on towards Aimbot. Aimbot is going to play around, trying to allow and wait for Swave to come in for the support lines, but Vortex is driving on forward. He's going to go in on his own. The pre-fire shots, the knockdown comes on through. Vortex with a beautiful crouch play. The hip fire is going to help get the kill, and Swave is left on his own, but with the DP28 in his hands, he has to prone down just in time. Smoke gets thrown out. He is going to get in towards the bike, but he's not going to survive. Skydo gets sweet revenge, and that's going to be kill number 7 for Unique.
That was an interesting spot to be in, because no matter how many smokes he had put down in that situation, there was no way out. Except from heading straight on into the lobby.
My lord.
But now looking at what we see on the zone, we've got the players from Blackjack and Spaza now going head-to-head, toe-to-toe, almost in that centralized portion in the zone. And so far, it is looking a little bit tough across the board as we've got knocks and throws happening on both sides. The team's still just trying to battle out, trying to move in to secure position that they can actually defend, as the opposing teams are also starting to make their way into that zone. And things are going to start getting super, super spicy. We're seeing quite a few utilities now getting sent across the players from Blackjack, now trying to get those reses in, while Spaza still just sending the grenades in. Fortunately, not really finding the position just yet. But they've got a pretty good idea of where Blackjack could be.
They do indeed, they do indeed. But Spaza are, unfortunately, a little bit isolated now as a team. They have overall been able to get the revives, the heals off in time. Blackjack do have a spread. MG did a great job of coming in and getting the revive onto Cheddar. Of course, we always talk about it, the solo picks could go against Blackjack, but when it comes to actual core information, eyes on the ground, eyes on the prize that is Spaza Gaming, I would say Blackjack do have the better set of eyes in this potential engagement, as the next phase does shift over to the east. It centralizes within the island itself, and we do have AOK going up against the side of Lag Esports with Iman. I believe he did get a kill, and AOK are down to 2.
Yeah, we're seeing an interesting spread coming in with the teams as that zone is now shifted in once again, heading over towards the eastern side. But a few teams already situated within it, and a few more still trying to find their way in. But the Blackjack team, we saw there with a beautiful spread, as you mentioned, across and around the players from Spaza. Now they're starting to move in, to tighten their grip. They've started to put the shots in, and now we're just waiting to see whether or not they'll be able to get that squad wipe done. The shots now starting to fly back and forth as Cheddar starts rushing in. The heads just come on up. One player remains. Deity, the last player for Spaza. Oh, Blackjack now in hot pursuit, trying to send them back and claim those kills. Oh, and they get it done. Well done. Now we are left with 14 teams.
Yeah,
and things are heating up in the south.
For sure, and Blackjack, you know, they really utilize those eyes that I talked about to their advantage. Looking down on the south side, as you correctly mentioned, in towards the airplane area, Nibble Esports holding on. Willie's knocked down, but he is looking to get revived up. Dark Dragons are to the left of them. You do have this side of 777 to the right of them. Never mind the fact that Unique are now looking to push in off the back of having 7 kills so far in the game, utilizing those round oil towers to their advantage as Skydo's pushed on into the building where typical Mercury hold it down.
And we see them in a very interesting position. I mean, Skydo is right there alongside them. There's not a lot separating the players from Unique, but now they're starting to force their way forward. moving in and trying to find the shots over towards 777. As you can see, 777 now just quickly trying to get some boost going, trying to recover themselves enough for the coming fight as the pressure is starting to mount and the teams are really getting stuck into these fights. The Dragons are coming in with a few shots, as we just saw in the kill feed. Nibble, 777, everyone just exposed. So many shots flying across and everyone just getting involved in these fights.
Yeah, Papa Blue is also hurting a number of these teams as well. Aphelion, Apex, Chris is left on his own. He is going to be coming into blue. Luckily for him, Dark Dragons are definitely hurt. We also have Nibble are a little bit more distracted by the two teams that are battling to the right of them. Fear has been able to push in as well, heal up in time. He only has a couple of bandages though, so that's going to, of course, force him to take his time a little bit longer. Nibble are going to avoid the side of AOK, the duo, and the circle has centered up with G3 Temper moving instantly into the C block buildings, a military base.
And with that, the Dragons don't make it into the military base, but of course move on up and start to warm the lobby. AOK still situated very far down in the south, but we're seeing the teams now coming in with some aggressive rotations. KHK coming in from the north, applying the pressure over towards the players there from Blackjack. G3, as you mentioned, already pushing into the C buildings, taking up a very interesting position here. They have quite a bit of a reach, especially towards the northern regions. Oh, KHK come in and send the players from Blackjack backing right into the lobby. Now we turn our attention to see what is going to be happening in that central portion of the zone. G3 looking pretty strong. Full squad. Several angles covered.
Like, this is...
Look at that southeast.
This is straight out of classics. This is straight out of classics. You know, like players prepare for this kind of circle for months and months and months and years. They drop a military base, go into the C block buildings where there's 2 or 3 squads, and they look to fight, they look to win. 777, unfortunately, gonna lose a player. Now Unique are gonna push in. Nibble's gonna knock down 6 God. That is gonna give, hopefully, for Unique a chance to find that entry point that they need. Now it's gonna be the cavalry full on arriving. Gunna is gonna have to try and defend their mark on the stair. Well, he's going to be on the stairway to heaven with the Uzi in his hands. He gets the initial knockdown. It's going to slow Unique down while the revive came through onto 6 God. A beautiful grenade is going to, of course, hit the back of the wall. Flacco goes down. He's getting confirmed up. Wooden, also known as Shady, as apparently G3 Shady was taken. Feels bad, man. But I'm still going to call him Shady. He's down on the stairwell as Gunner and 6 God are on the upper part of this building. But the circle shifts away from these 2 squads. The circle shifts away from a part of the C block buildings.
Ooh. I mean, this is going to be tough. Already see Unique and G3 just battling it out in that building. But now, to add insult to injury, they now need to rotate out of this position they've been battling so hard to actually capture.
Ooh.
And now they need to step into another fight.
Beautiful by Unique. Beautiful by Unique. They take down G3, and they're even going to get the revive onto Vortex to keep them up as a full squad. They will now have to fight through Nibble on the apartment, on one of the C block apartments. Oh my lord, KHK? KHK has one of their players on the tower. I forget exactly what that's called, but they've one of their players on the higher part of that tower. LK is going to be the eye of Soren over the remaining players of this game. 5 teams, 16 players left alive.
You could also even maybe call it the Eye of Saruman. You know, it's the
okay, I'll give you that.
Really well perched position they've got there. But now we see Unique starting to push in towards Nibble over in the C block. The players from 777 holding up on that far southern side. The team from Exist keeping them at bay, making it pretty difficult, but the shots just going down. Nibble manages to send Unique backing, returning the favor, and just off they go. Now Nibble down, sitting on 7 kills so far. Only 3 players two of which we have knocked. Ronnie slowly bleeding out. Willie also just getting raised up there by Sidon. But as we mentioned, the players here from KHK, they are just sitting in an absolutely beautiful position. And the zone is also in their favor. So we're going to be seeing the teams having to expose themselves. And LK can just capitalize on where he is and just cause so much chaos.
Oh my god. Look how flat that circle is. The only thing these players can use in front of them is the walls. Now, if 777 can spread out and take the shots onto existence and take them out, in my opinion, could be a 777 chicken dinner. However, for KHK, they do still have the full squad power. They even have a couple of vehicles, as Hansi is going to reiterate upon that area, and Duffy gets knocked down by KHK. LK comes through on the ISR in position, but will go down in return at the hands of Sidon of Nibble Esports. Nicely done, the third party play, and the rest of KHK, they're not going to go for the revive. Sorry, LK, you're on your own, my friend. You're left standing as Sidon gets knocked down. Willie is going to have to stay hunkered down towards the open part of this little warehouse as KHK is going to get a little bit of sweet revenge.
I mean, this fight has now come full circle. The teams moving from position to position, angle to angle. The blue zone being absolutely relentless, still continuing to push forward. We see the players from Exist still partially caught in the blue, trying to push their way on forward. Down goes Clutch. Zodiac caught out into the blue. The hits now starting to fly in. Down they go. Now we have 3 teams remaining. Exist trying to battle things out with that blue zone, but KHK and Nibble really well positioned. Both teams sitting on 3 players aside. This is going to be a beautiful showdown.
But here's the thing. Even though LK is knocked, he's not confirmed, so he's actually still providing information to his team. He is still being a utility, a helpful insight. And in my opinion, that has definitely given KHK the strength and confidence, the power to push on through. And knockdown comes through onto Ronnie. CP is going to be on towards the other side, flanking around, dropping down as existence the last player. He's going to get caught out, but Sleepy, you got caught napping yourself. You're living by your IGN. You cannot overstay your welcome like that. However, Satan is going to get knocked down and Willie is left on his own. Does he have the willpower? Does he have the Willie power, so to speak, to get the clutch for KHK in the final moments of this game? It's a 1v1 between Sully and Willie. Both names end in Y, but I'm going to be asking why one didn't come out on top, and they're going to be asking themselves. They're both going for the revives. Nibble seem to have gotten the first revive off first, which might give them the extra power and strength to come through. Ronnie gets confirmed. Sully's going to wrap around. He's going to get one. He's going to get the other. Willie goes down. Sully comes out on top. And it's a KHK chicken dinner in game number 1 of the day.
I mean, just look at the kills there. Ah, man, insane. 15 kills and a chicken dinner. What a way to add on to things. That now is their 3rd chicken dinner. They won behind G3 when it comes to chicken dinner count. that is pretty insane. And of course, Nibble also just putting up an absolutely phenomenal play. And if it wasn't, I think LK played quite an essential part in KHK's placing in this final part.
Definitely.
You know, as you said, giving that information, just being an absolutely crucial, you know, utility in his position, even though he was knocked. And it really came, you know, came in quite handy there for KHK to find a really decent positioning.
It really did. Nibble still putting up valiant effort, holding on to OC, block building, having a little bit of circle look in their favor, to be fair, and also picking up 7, 8, 9, 10 kills for themselves in second. Existence in third with 1 kill. It may have been a very, very passive game, but getting the placement points needed to at least kick off their day number 4, the Invitational League. 777 in 4th with 2 kills. Unique in 5th with 11 kills. Unique, honestly, are very happy with their aggression. Extremely happy because they were one of the later teams to the military island, right? But that doesn't matter if you're not afraid to take the fights on the edge and outside of the circle. And Unique proved that you don't always need to be a center team player. You don't always need to prepare for the circle.
Yeah.
Once you prepare yourself to have the right play style on those kind of circles, that's how Unique showed a valiant effort for themselves. AOK in 6th with 1 kill, G3 Temper in 7th with 2 kills. You had Aphelion Apex in 8th with 1 kill, UAE in 9th with 0 kills, Blackjack Esports in 10th with 3-4-5 with 9 kills. Really good bridge camping come out from them. Dark Dragons in 11th with 3 kills, Lag in 12th with 1 kill, Yonkous in 13th with 1 kill, Slime 4KT in 14th with 2 kills, Spaza Gaming in 15th with 1 kill, Outsiders in 16th with 1 kill, Gun in 17th with 0 kills, and Pain in 18th with 0 kills.
It's been a pretty tough match. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you can see the teams in especially the top 10 placements really coming in with some really decent kill counts there. And we've seen that aggression, of course, as they rotate around and finding themselves in positions that they can really just capitalize on and use that in their favor to try and make the most of that. You know, and to me, that's just amazing to see how they are utilizing the information they've been able to gather, use that to their advantage, and just start raking in kills.
Raking in those kills, indeed. We are, of course, going to be going on to game number 2, which is going to be in Sanhok. I will point out, with KHK getting the chicken dinner and a pretty strong amount of kills, and G3 Temper not having the highest amount of kills and the 7th place finish, that is going to create an automatic gap. We don't get live scorings, but it is something to think about coming into game number 2, where Temper will have to, find their form once again and find their strengths in this game. Coming into Sanhok, what's your thoughts on how the team should be approaching this map and approaching this game too?
So we've seen a lot of times with the teams participating, they really have this ability to control the pace of the zone, control the pace of the game. So we've seen them on Miramar, for instance, where they speed up the gameplay. On Sanhok, they slow it down. So Sanhok is known to be a very fast-paced match. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the teams are able to control the play and slow the zone down to a pace that they are more comfortable with, and really just utilizing that, because the moment they can do that, they can milk so much more out of the map and just make it work in their favor. I'm quite excited to see, just exactly how they're going to be approaching that and, utilizing that part.
For sure. Well, look, on that note, myself and DK, we will go for a bit of a break, but we will be back fairly soon for game number 2 in the wonderful map of Sanhok. Don't go away. See you guys in a bit.
My love was in ever again. I lay my cards out on the table. There's nothing to gamble away. But I can promise that you'll never be the same. But I can promise that you'll never be the same. Have I become a little too shy for love? I've been hurt before. All's fair in love and war. So I snuggle up close to the shell I'm living in. And if I let you in, another round begins. No, I'm spinning in a vicious cycle. I'm scared of doing something I'll regret. Maybe this is right, but I'm still staring at your silhouette. But what if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? And what if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side.
Should I be scared? The feeling's so different now. You got me floating here, a feather in the air. Oh, but when the wind blows, will I tumble or sail away? Or would you have me stay? And what if I escape? I know
I'm spinning in a vicious cycle. I'm scared of doing something I'll regret. Maybe this is right, but I'm still staring at your silhouette. But what if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? But what if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side, by your side. I'm not afraid. We found something that'll never fade. We can be ourselves and figure out the rest along the way. What if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? What if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side. I need you by my side. I need you by my side.
And we are back here in day number 4 of the 777 Invitational League with myself, Imperium, and the wonderful, wonderful DK. DA.
There we go. There we go. So we saw pretty spicy performance from the teams in that previous match. Erangel was hot, but now I'm hoping to see that momentum carry forward as we move into Sanhok. I'm expecting a lot of battles, a lot of heated fights to come in across the board with these teams. So you asked me before we went into the break what I'm expecting, right?
Yeah.
Now, what are you expecting from Sanhok? What are you looking to see the teams do in this match?
So I'm expecting a Yonkous heal strat. That's one thing I am expecting because I've observed that they've intentionally gone into Sanhok to pull off a heal strat. As in, like, it's not something that they've had as a plan C. It's like being a plan A, right? So that's one thing I am expecting. Then other than that, I'm really... What I'm expecting and what I want to see are going to be two different things. I am expecting players to suffer from the blue zone because I do think the rotations do tend to still be a little bit slow in the Sanhok map from a lot of these teams. Now, whether they're able to deal with that is one thing, and, you know, typical example of why it's okay to do that is a team like Unique, but a good few of these teams tend to be not as aggressive as Team Unique were in that game, and then they can end up suffering from leaving it too late to rotate. Other than that, the beautiful thing about Sanhok is that circle look. You have the three areas, the river. It can go either way. It is really the kind of map where the kills can be spread out. Any number of teams can win. It's just a matter of trying to adapt every single circle.
So are you expecting any teams to be dropping down over in the trifecta?
As far as I remember, no. You don't need to drop into the trifecta, but definitely have that as a rotational path line. Should be the case. I do low-key forget if a team does drop into the trifecta. Well, we'll find out, I suppose. DK, as the playing path has indeed come through, and we do see a little bit down south, but it's not going to be the worst, especially considering how small Sanhok is as a map.
It's going to be interesting where the teams are going to be going. You know, seeing that the map is so small, the flight path is kind of irrelevant because they can still reach into so many positions and still have pretty decent access to all those drop spots that they like to frequent. But I'm hoping to see some early game action. The teams going in aggressively, you know, just kicking that fight off, getting the party started, getting the hype, you know, all set and ready to roll, and then just having that move up a little bit. As I've mentioned before, the teams have the ability to slow down the map. So I want to see whether or not they'll start, you know, bringing in a little bit of that. I mean, here we get to go off right out the gate. The first bit of action already coming in. So I'd like to see the players here from Pain maybe make it a little bit further. So far, they're starting things off really, really decently. In the previous match, it wasn't such a ideal map for them. They didn't last as long as, you know, we would have liked to see them maybe. But I'm hoping to see an improvement on that, and the team's just making it a little further in towards the game. Because especially on Sanhok, if we have a pretty packed zone, it is a crazy amount of action.
Really is. I've never been a fan of split dropping in Sanhok. Never, especially so close to boot camp. Even though it worked out for Pain, I'm still not a fan of it. I do not approve of that split drop from you, Pain. But at the end of the day, you did drop earlier than the two players of AOK. Therefore, it all went AOK for you guys. Because Sanhok is such a small map. If you split drop, even if it's as a 2-2, and you stay there as a 2-2 for too long, it's just so much easier for you to get caught out. Like Spaza Gaming, yeah, okay, they went for a 2-2 split, but it's in a location that is way less likely to see you get caught out on, and plus they also split drop in a position where they're able to join with each other so much quicker. So yeah, AOK, don't split drop, please. Just please don't split drop.
But that split drop from Spaza, that is actually a decent, you know, approach to take, because you could find so many teams on opposite ends. You know, that it's easy if you drop down, you have kind of a scout already in position, having the rest of your team then follow up, provide that extra little bit of support, you know, just to make sure that you've got as many angles covered as you possibly can. So I think in that specific situation, it makes sense. But I agree with you, you know, that split drop coming in from Pain, especially where they chose to drop, it's not really the most ideal approach.
No, it's not. It's not the most ideal approach. With the blue zone already starting to push in, and that phase 1 looking predominantly towards the northwest island, you've seen Pain look to swim across the way early on. Slime 4KT, who dropped in boot camp, are going to play towards the south boot camp hills / the trifecta area. The split drop from Spaza Gaming has worked out, and Existence, they have all 4 players on the Chungus, or on or around the Chungus mountain that is on that northwest island, overlooks pretty much the whole of pretty much the northwest island, is going to allow them to really set themselves up nicely for phase 2, phase 3 onwards.
But this is little bit of deja vu. Isn't that a similar kind of zone that we saw coming in the MEO as well?
Yeah, it is similar.
Yeah,
similar. But
yeah, similar.
We know the shifts can be weird. The shifts can be weird. So plus with water in play, anything can happen.
But we're also seeing a nice movement coming in from the team situated over in that southeastern portion. We've got 777, we've got Gun on the move, we've got the players from Unique, of course, taking occupation there of Pine. So we're not seeing any overly aggressive rotations, but the team's definitely moving into positions which could be beneficial once the next phase starts kicking in, and also with the opposing team starting to rotate in towards, you know, the coming zone.
Dark Dragons. They're in hot ting, but one thing I worry about them is if they it's okay phase 1. I would even low-key say it's okay phase 2, but if they stay in hot ting for too much longer as a full squad, they could easily get put under far too much pressure by the likes of Existence, PN, and they can just lose a core spot in the circle, because hatting is all well and good, but if you have to disengage down south across that roadside near the Chungus Mountain, you're a sitting duck, so they will need to consider that coming into phase 2.
Yeah, I think the next rotations are going to be pretty crucial for these teams. So G3, we already see in a fairly decent position right there alongside that bridge. We've got the players from AOK, or what's left of AOK, just situated over towards the east. We got the team from KHK just to the north of their position. But now we're also seeing the teams starting to light things up. They're getting closer. They're spotting movement. They're getting into these engagements. And I'm hoping for a bit of a snowball effect, that the teams, just looking at their placement for the time being, they're going to really start, you know, getting involved in more engagements, start pushing in, getting that aggression going, because for the time, they have been able to slow down the map. You know, slow, steady approach into zone. Not overcommitting to any rotations, but we are also seeing 4KT starting to apply the pressure to the team here from Spaza.
Cola Boy gonna come in, flank around on the side. Coco was knocked down. We saw Horus nearly get knocked down. Schizo did get the revive onto Deity. It's not one and done yet for Spaza Gaming, but definitely, you said it right, Slime 4KT looking to hunt down their opponents around them. The PMCO African champions for the 2021 spring split use the smokes to get closer across the road, while Cola Boy is gonna move into the building across the way. A lovely pre-nade by Deity gets a beautiful knockdown on the Mongnor. It's not gonna stop Shank from pushing in, and Spectre, sorry, should I say Cola Boy, knocks down Horse. That's good. Great teamwork from Slime 4KT. Also great momentum, not losing hold of it. They have to beware. They have to be careful. And Fex cleans things up. Beautiful. Although Cola Boy is going to get knocked down in return and shanked. And Fex are left in a 2v1. Schizo is on his own.
And this is a lot of pressure now on Schizo. His whole team survival is riding on his shoulders. Shank just waiting, stepping out, moves in, finds the few hits. Up he comes rushing in, sending Spaza into the lobby. Beautiful aggression. And as you said, you know, they didn't lose any momentum in that push. They just kept on going. Absolutely phenomenal.
So many teams do that. When a team gets knocked, they will very easily stop that engagement or cut that off to try and go for the revive. Where Slime, they didn't. They were like, no, I'm not going to allow ourselves to lose this fight just because one of our players are knocked down. That is confidence personified, and really so many teams can learn from exactly what Slime 4KT did just there. Phase 2 did shift up north, so on the one hand, it's helpful to these teams because it's pretty much going to be a Northwest Island finish. However, that landmass is shrunk massively off the back of about 30% water in play.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough one for the teams to find a decent position on into. And we've got so many teams still left on the island, still taking up possession of some decent positions, which you could see the teams, you know, trying to move on into. And for the time being, the players from Blackjack, they're taking quite a few casualties in the process. In fact, they are down to only one player, MG, managing it to escape the assault there from the UAE team as they were pushing up. And we're going to be seeing quite a bit more of that as the teams are all starting to push into zone, start getting into position. And I'm waiting to see what's going to be happening up in this northwestern corner. Northeastern corner, rather.
Definitely going to keep an eye, but I want you to just have a quick look at God from Yonkous. Just have a quick look at him while I do indeed pan on over to that northwest side of the circle area where KHK, Nibble, and Lag are all hovering around the black hole of the abyss inside this Sanhok area. God does pick up a kill, but, you know, what did you notice about God?
He moves up very stealthily. You know, he is able to position himself in a very interesting place. You know, kind of right where you could see the teams rotating up into.
You don't notice the amount of first aids he has? see, this, you know, Yonkous intentionally go for this. They genuinely now. Credit to them, they're still playing for the circle, so I will give them their due diligence and their due respect, but that is an intentional play from them. They do look to play for the heel strap, but with the circle centering off quite nicely, they do have outsiders and Unique around them, and Louis on the other side is at least helping to get the information for his teammate. As Aimbot goes down, it's a nice spray that came out from God, but I have no doubt that a Unique are not going to be afraid to shoot up the hills on towards God. And if God goes down, that's you know, not only is God goes down, Unique pick up the kill. That's going to be Yonkous out of here. You ain't pulling off a heel strap much longer, my friends.
Well, they definitely tried. They came in with enough meds to revive the the rest of the lobby.
And
wow,
like in this kind of position, by the way, this kind of area, like, is it weird that I'm not worried about Unique, who are currently outside the circle? I'm literally not worried about them at all. I think they have no problem dealing with this on the outside in phase 3. You saw what they did in Erangel? They'll be good. They'll be good.
Yeah, they're pretty confident in their positioning, you know, and we've seen them really being capable of defending a position, just finding those weaknesses in the opposing team, capitalizing on that. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal, and we have got them continuing that once again. Hate's now finding a few shots across, sending them over, and now we're waiting to see what the team's going to be doing. The players there from Apex and 4KT just suffering so many hits as Unique is just trying to push their way on forward to get into that zone.
Vortex with another knock, man. What did I say? I'm not worried. I'm just not worried about Unique. They will spray. They will fight. They will make noise on the edge of the circle to push these teams back. Brilliant work coming out from Unique on the edge of the circle as this phase 3 is closing in.
Yeah, but that's a beautiful positioning that we see there from them. I was expecting a little bit more to be happening over in that northeastern side.
Yeah.
It's fairly quiet. I mean, all the attention, all the focus almost being drawn over here towards Unique as they are just making their way on through the zone, finding head after head and causing quite a bit of a disruption with the opposing teams.
For sure. UAE are going to lose another player. They're left with just Inspector on the pretty much the western edge of the circle away from Camp Alpha. The next circle is about to shift up. KHK should I say, as a duo have been able to cross the bridge, swimming across on the underpass to get into that Northwest Island. Dark Dragons are still in Hatting and they're a 1-1 split, and the circle shifts heavily to the west, massively to the west, where the big Chungus Mountain play along with Camp Alpha is going to be on form in this Sanhok map.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I'm quite curious to see how Pain is going to get into the zone.
Okay.
So they've taken up the position on the cliffs. They're right alongside G3. Now they're already starting a little bit of that rotation, getting the move on. They still have a few players hanging back just to wait if they could potentially find some
G3?
angles in on G3. But G3 is now also starting to move on up.
Wow.
Rushing in on them.
I respect the fact that G3 are looking for this fight. They know where Pain are, but they don't know where all the players are. As Beast gets a knockdown on the wooden, he pushes in. Gunnar looks to go for the shots off, but Hanad along with El Chapo is going to pick up a second knockdown. G3 not looking good. Flacco goes down, and they're left with one player standing. Six God is way further back, and as much as I respect the fact that G3 were going for that fight, it was not the right call. Unfortunately, a Six God gets stabbed in the back from behind by the last player. One of the last players of AOK swimming in from the water, and G3 having an unfortunate Sanhok result.
That is a super tough one, but well played there for Pain. They really capitalized on that hill, being able to just hide themselves well enough, exposing only a few players and have the rest come in with some beautiful third-party shots off the side. I mean, they played that hill absolutely amazingly, but they're not done just yet. They haven't rotated out, and now we're seeing quite a few shots that could still be coming into their region. And Unique now, once again, starting to push up from the south there. You know, I almost want to cue like that shark music.
Doo-doo.
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 Yeah.
Doo-doo. Doo-doo. Slime 4KT are now gonna push on towards the side of Outsiders into a double little shack around this area. Beautiful pre-nade. Oh my lord. Swave, baby. Let's go. And now Fex is gonna be pushing from the open, but he takes his shots off with the spray coming on through. He has his teammate towards the other side, which is definitely healthy. He deals with it. That's going to be Outsiders out of here. And Slime 4KT once again showing why they did win the PMCO African Region 2021 Spring Split. 6 kills, but they are now once again outside the circle.
We're seeing a very unfortunate positioning there for Pain. I would have expected them to rotate in towards zone, but they were hanging around just a little bit too long on the far side. Gun, of course, now managing to move in from the south. We're taking a few shots from Pain in that exchange that we had with the players from G3 as well, but now Gun is just capitalizing on the chaos. And they just playing such a decent game, moving up, setting up a bit of a gatekeep even here for the players from Pain as they need to push on. We're seeing quite a few teams still just situated on the outskirts of zone. The Dragons being the first one to make that initial push into zone, but the hits not coming in here from Pain. El Chapo, the last remaining player for his team, he's now not only battling against Gun, but also the blue zone, and down they go. It's a beautiful play coming in there from Gun, but now the teams need to get into zone.
And Gun had to. They had to get those shots off with the QBU from Nerf. Unfortunately, not going to connect onto Existence. But they're not connecting onto each other. Dark Dragons coming in from the other side of the cliffside. They have a kill knocked down, but they are playing on towards the edge. The edge of the circle, the edge of the hill, the edge of the mountain, the edge of glory. Where Gun are going to be gate kept against Dark Dragons. Shirley. He is in the backline. He's still trying to heal up in due time. The circle does continue down south. Nerf Me does get knocked down. Nice play by Dan. Dan going to be the dirty Dan of this lobby of this game. His blade is going to stick on towards the corner side. Gun down to 2 players. Well, actually, three players, should I say. They're down to 3 players.
You know, Short Boy Slim now just going out in that blue zone, but Blade just trying to third-party peek this hill as much as he can. Not quite sure at what point Short Boy Slim's going to try and push into that zone. But the rest of the gun team, if the Dragons play this one well and they just rotate up and put the shots in, oh! Yeah, and they did exactly what I was about to say, just finding those angles. And now everything is up to Short Boy Slim. This is going to be a fairly tough one for Gun, but well played to the Dragons for just capitalizing on that mountainous region, just using it to their favor. And now we're down to 6 teams. We'll make that 5.
5 teams of Slime 4KT go down at the hands of Aphelion Apex cleaning things up. Existence is still on top of the Chungus Mountain as Dark Dragons are unfortunately going to be somewhat eliminated, nearly not quite. Gun Shirt by Sim is still left in the game, and Ruthless gets knocked down. That's really healthy. That's really healthy. However, Dark Dragons are taken off to the lobby, and we are left with our final 4 teams.
Oh, Existence fall off the side of the map.
What?
What?
What the hell?
Wow. That was so we saw one of the AOK players, right? He was all the way over towards that bridge on the far eastern side of the northwestern island.
Yeah.
And so making a very slow and steady approach in towards zone. So he got claimed by blue. Then Existence fell off the side, which left Short Boy Slim, who was in the blue. And he was trying to make his rotation, not getting ahead of that blue zone in time. And of course, they got sent back into the lobby. And Apex come with a lovely chicken dinner on a silver plate, just handed to them.
Yeah, look, you know what? They played on the western side. They played down on the kind of, you know, out of sight, out of mind areas. The circle shifts were very weird, to be fair. You know, going so heavily up the kind of northwest of that northwest island. And yeah, they picked it up. Job done. Happy days. Gun in second with 7, 8, 10 kills. So really good result from Gun, to be fair. And they ended up beating out dirty Dark Dragons from that heal strat that Shirt by Slim pulled off. So very healthy from Gun. Existence in third with 3 kills. I do think they probably could have played down the mountain areas a little bit earlier, but that's always incredibly tricky. It is, because on one hand, you're kind of stuck up there too. If you drop down too early, you can end up getting caught out, etc., etc. So I do understand why they stayed up there. AOK in fourth with 1 kill. Dark Dragons in fifth with 4, 3, 7, 8, 10 kills themselves. So a good game for Dark Dragons. Slime 4KT with 6 kills. Unique in seventh with 4 kills. UAE in 8th with 4 kills. Yeah, Payne in 9th with 4 kills. Yeah, Nibble in 10th with 5 kills. Yeah, the Outsiders in 11th with 4 kills. KHK in 12th with 0 kills. G3 Temper in 13th with 0 kills. 777 in 14th with 0 kills. Yeah, Lag in 15th with 0 kills. Yonkous in 16th with 2 kills. Blackjack Esports in 17th with 0 kills. And Spaza Gaming in 18th with 0 kills. Oh.
A lot of zeros there near the end once again. But once again, we're seeing the teams that were able to make it into that top 10 really coming in with, so, you know, the decent kill counts. But one thing that I would have really liked to see is, you know, Pain went down because they got caught in a very slow rotation off that position that they had, you know, just before they got sent back. So I would have liked to see them rotate up a little bit sooner, a little bit faster, get ahead, get up into that zone. But, you know, it's PUBG. It's Sanhok. That is kind of what you get. And you actually called this before we started the match. You know, you said we're going to be seeing the teams getting devoured by the blue zone. And that is how we got to the chicken dinner. We didn't even see shots coming in.
Yeah, and even so, somebody chat going, you know, why aren't bridge camps a big thing in Sanhok? They're not a big thing because one, there's technically so many bridges. Two, there's more ways to enter the circles or enter the other parts of the Sanhok map outside of just the bridges. And two, the blue zone closes in so quickly that it's unique that a bridge camp is kind of viable, because if you spend too long bridge camping past phase 4, you're really hurting yourselves in that regard. Dark Dragons, one real quick thing to touch upon with them is that I was really worried about them playing on the Hating area for so long. I was worried, and I do think if the circle had it shifted more south, they would have definitely have had a much tougher job from not only entering but controlling the circle. However, a little bit of luck plus strong teamwork did allow them to disengage away from Hating at the right time and hug that cliff side to take out a number of teams around them. So a little bit of a mixture, but it did worry me about Dark Dragons. They proved me wrong in that Sanhok game. A very strong result from them.
Yeah. I guess if they had... so one thing that I think that kind of worked in their favor was the way that they started spreading out throughout Hatin.
Yeah,
you know, instead
fair.
of staying too huddled up together. So with that spread, it enabled them to, once again, start being able to cover more angles on the exterior portion of our team.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure. It's definitely something that that definitely would have benefited them. But either way, are they going to be able to repeat it in the third game of the day? Are they going to be able to rack up the strong kills? And will Aphelion Apex once again be gifted a little bit of a circle god luck? We'll have to wait and find out. Myself and DK, we're going to go for another quick break, but we will be back in our screens very shortly.
Something's wrong, I feel it circling like vultures around my brain. Couldn't see this danger in your eyes. Draw me in, got me spinning now like water to a drain. You were perfect till I realized you hadn't shown your face. You sing a pretty song to drag my heart along. A siren serenade, you're ringing out to pray. Your love's a wreck and you know it's wrong. I was dead a serenade. You're ringing out your praise. Your love's a wrecking, you know it's wrong. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory. Living every day in your head for free. You can tap away, but I will not hear you scream. You can break the keys, spread your toxicity, your world outside reality. In your room, a little hideaway, but you let it through. Enough to go insane, living in the dark hasn't treated you well. You're building your own prison cell. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste it on me. Did I brush you off? Is it your lack of friends? We never met, even if you pretend. Am I in your debt? I don't owe you nothing. Don't say something you'll regret. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste it on me. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste it on me. Rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste it. I'm telling you, don't waste it. Lies telling you, don't waste it on me. Ice and flames call my name. I freeze, I burn, I blame. I love, I hate the same. It's on my face, I cannot hide from the mistake my parents made. I'm never moving on. Not made from love, a remnant of a selfish motive. Was I needed? Do I need it to go wrong? Polarized inherent pain, pumping through my veins. Eyes in flames, call my name. I freeze, I burn, I blame. I love, I hate the safe I embrace inside of me. I only fuel the fire, but is it wrong for me to
Welcome back to the 777 Invitational League. It's day number 4 with myself, Imperium, and DKZA. Welcome to casting with me, by the way, my friend. And this, I will the odd time break into song. So enjoy.
Nothing wrong with that.
I was hoping you know, try and duet with me, but you know, I understand if you're a little bit intimidated. I know, it's normal.
No. I do it for public safety, you know.
Oh my lord. So
Yeah.
we're 2 games down, 2 more to go. We are transitioning from the frantic jungle train Sanhok to a more calmer, slow-paced in some way, desert-style map that is Miramar.
Yeah. So I don't expect it to be too slow paced though. To be honest,
fair.
because I've seen this with these teams numerous times. They've got the ability, and I've mentioned this before, but they speed up the gameplay. On Sanhok, they slow down.
Yeah.
But Miramar, it's kind of the opposite way. So I'm quite excited to see what this map is going to bring, and you know how the teams are going to where they're going to drop firstly, and of course then how they're going to take these first initial zones. You know, I'm quite keen to see what's going to be happening. If the first 2 matches are any indication, we're in for quite a bit of a show.
We are indeed. Okay, we are just waiting for the room to start. The room host maybe is had a little bit of a nap, SMH, but we're gonna be ready to start this game. Why don't we just remind folks of the standings coming into today's game? So this is the overall standings coming into today's games, not including the 2 games we've had so far. G3 on top, KHK in second, but they are holding on to the same amount of points, and Slime 4KT in third with 108 points. KHK, they won game 1 and they had a pretty decent result in game 2. Not the most amazing, not the worst, not the best. Whereas G3, they floundered in the first 2 games today.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I definitely think we've seen there's already a bit of a change up in the leaderboard and the structure of it. Just based on the kills that we saw for KHK in that first game, they had 15 kills. So that already puts them ahead with kills, just catching up, because they were trailing with 6. And they were able to get in 15 just in that first one. So yeah, I'm expecting things to look quite a bit different. 4KT also, though, starting to step it up, you know, coming in with those extra performances. So I definitely think, you know, aside from just the top 2 positions, I definitely think we've seen quite a bit of a change coming in on that leaderboard, and it's going to be exciting, you know, after today's matches to see the kind of the extent of that.
And because G3 Temper have had like a couple of bad results, I would argue that the likes of Slime 4KT and the teams below could have, you know, I'm not saying overtaken them, at least decrease that lead, you know, down to let's say 10 or 5 onwards. But we'll have to wait and find out, as we are indeed into the 3rd game of the day in the wonderful map of Miramar. It's a very western playing path, straight down the arrow of north to south.
Yeah, but it's of course also quite shifted over towards the western front. So the teams not really being able to reach, for instance, over to Junkyard, Impala, Al Azahar, where we've seen some of the teams move into. But it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to make with this flight path, how they're going to adapt their drop spots and the places they like to go to. Maybe we'll see a few teams actually coming in, dropping down, grabbing a vehicle and moving into, you know, their favorite spots.
For Unique, seem to be going towards the ruin areas. The ruins area, should I say. Honestly, I'm okay with that. Yeah, okay, if it's going to be a Eastern Phase 1, they'll have a long way to travel, blah, blah, blah. But again, they've clearly exhibited a comfort in playing on the edge of the circle, so I have no doubt they will be fine with how things go. El Pozo is occupied by KHK Esports and 777 dropping down to Valdemar. Slime 4KT and Chumacero, all things, all good in the hood. And G3 Temper will go to Hacienda with no issues whatsoever.
It's going to be interesting starting things off over in Picardo, though.
Mm.
We got Blackjack and Pain. So this is going to be a bit of a proving ground for Pain. Is how well can they hold up against them?
Well,
Because we saw pretty aggressive play coming in Sanhok.
yeah.
Pretty aggressive play. But now I want to see a continuation of that. Have that momentum kind of flow forward. Get those rotations sorted as well. But for now, they need to focus on what could be a bit of a difficult fight. Possibly.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a difficult fight. I have no doubt about it. They fought in Miramar yesterday, and Payne ended up coming out on top. But in Erangel today, although they didn't fight at the start, at the drop, Blackjack did overall end up coming out on top. So, I would argue that these teams are a little bit evenly matched across the last couple of days. However, in this specific situation, I think Payne have a slightly better position. I think they have a more variability of rotating into different areas of Picado. That in turn could allow them to catch out Blackjack a little bit more. Bell Chapo's on his own, is saying is going to be driving on up the stairs, but the pre-fire shot won't work out for now. But the drop shot comes through. Ooh. He can't switch over to the Uzi, and he's going to get counter knocked. So the two-man push, or well, not two-man push, but the two-man movement by Blackjack massively works out in their favor, as Cheddar is going to be on his own behind the wall, as Payne will look to react to that in a strong way. Blackjack, you need to still keep their composure.
Yeah. But one thing I'd like to see is Zane and Vile rotating out of the casino.
Yeah.
Because together they make a pretty good assault point, if you could call it that. Oh, down goes Cheddar.
Cheddar, why didn't you backtrack? Why didn't you disengage across the road? Yeah, okay, Beast technically could have, knocked you down, but, and never mind that. Why, Zane and Vile, why weren't you there to try and back him up? You cleaned up the killing in Casino. Definitely a little bit of a missed opportunity for Blackjack, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A little bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I would have liked to see Zane and Vile push across over towards Shadow. Once we saw Hanad and King Amin starting to move in, I would have liked to see that rotation come in, them moving up to provide that additional bit of support, which clearly was needed as Cheddar got wiped out pretty quickly. But now we've got MG on the opposite end. Now it's an even match, 3v3.
It is. Beast is on the top floor of the apartment building overlooking where Vile and Zane are across the road. MG is down on the ground by the side of the road, holding on behind a dilapidated truck, is now going to move back into the apartment building where Kingamin and Hamad are. Bit of a distraction being created by MG, I think, a little bit. He chucked out the smoke, then went into the building. That little bit of uncertainty might help MG and the rest of his team follow through, but he goes up the stairs. He's going to get caught out, and that's going to be Blackjack down to 2.
Now, Pain definitely causing quite a bit of pain in this match. So the name is quite fitting on this one, but now the rest of the team forced to try and make a plan B. They need to try and make a different rotation. You can see them now already starting to adopt that. They're getting ready to move out. Yeah. Things didn't start off the way that they hoped. Now they need to, come up with a plan B, try to find a different approach. But Pain, they seem to be quite hungry, quite thirsty. They want the action. They want these engagements. And they could very well start pushing up aggressively, start looking for the players from Blackjack just to kind of round it off and send the whole team into the lobby.
But then again, at the end of the day, both these teams, and I even say Pain more than Blackjack, they have to think about their position in a circle because they're on the southwestern edge. It's going to be a matter of time before there could potentially be a team or two coming into the circle around them. Plus, the longer they leave it, the harder it's going to be to, I wouldn't say hold on to like the strongest positions, but at least, be able to gather information in preparation for phase 2, because that, the playing path is massively opposite to where that phase on circle is, right? You know, so there's automatically way more teams on the western side of this map, which means, again, like I said, a higher chance that teams are going to be surrounding each other. But Payne are indeed looking to push forward on towards the 2 remaining players of Blackjack, try and clean this fight out, as you recommended, as you mentioned, and they're certainly doing what you low-key expected.
I mean, if Blackjack is able to pick them off and, you know, just pick them off one by one, that would be amazing. But based on what we've seen coming in from Payne so far, it's going to be really difficult to accomplish that.
For sure.
I mean, pretty tough.
It's also quite hard to take a fight like massively cleanly up on towards this building. Having that man advantage, which Payne know they do, is definitely helpful, but it can still go horribly wrong very quickly for them.
Yeah, especially with the staircases. You know, having that limited the limited visibility, and of course the team you're going up against.
Beautiful.
What?
So what?
Wow.
What? That was big brain play, because what he did was he went onto the stairs going up to the roof through one window, which is the window of the stairs, and he then moved across onto the roof, onto the other side through the outside staircase. That was perfectly played by Payne. So good.
Yeah. Definitely a big brain play there. There is no arguing about that. And that one really paid off. And yeah, I'm waiting to see if we're going to have an engagement coming in here between the players there from Apex and Existence. You know, even on Miramar terms, they are fairly close together, but not close enough to really, you know, start taking those engagements. That could change with Clutch, depending on how he starts moving up, and if he could actually spot Kage over in the distance, he could really get some of those hits going. Because, you know, again, not seeing a very aggressive push coming in there from Apex. They just, you know, rotating up bit by bit, just moving around.
Moving around. Unique, they're taking the brunt of the phase on Blue Zone, albeit it's really not that much. It's more of a tickle at this stage of the game. Yonkous also spreading their wings under rotation, as are Nibble, so they're entangling each other as of right now. Outsiders coming in from the South Cruiserval area to the El Azahar Hill, which is a fantastic hill to of course control, and G3 Temper going quite deep from the San Martin terrain onto the hills just outside Junkyard and Minas Generalis.
But this is where that 2-2 split kind of assists the teams in being able to spot, you know, any movement in the surrounding area. So I think that's a pretty decent play coming in from a, you know, pretty good strat. Taking up that 2-2 split, being able to cover just a little bit more ground just to get those angles in. And they've spotted the movement from Apex. You can see Six God already starting to push, and he's in a hot pursuit, starting to put the shot straight in towards Hexor. But also, he needs to watch out for Kage, because Kage can still turn the fight around.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Six God, to be honest, he's so lucky that Aphelion and Apex weren't a little bit more of a confident team in the sense of those counter shots. Six God was staying there for way too long. Zero? I don't think he's been spotted out by G3 Temper, so he could definitely do something in turning the fight in the favor of Aphelion Apex.
Yeah, he definitely could, and we've seen quite a bit of chaos coming in from the solo players, the ones that are way off on the side, just isolated, and, you know, just capitalizing on that element of surprise. We've got a few more teams now starting to move into position as well, and we're seeing some fights happening over in the south of Impala as well, as the players there from Spaza and the team from 777 are exchanging shots, and now, of course, the shots coming in here from Existence. They're trying to pick off the hits towards G3, who's now trying to improve their position. G3, a lot could still happen.
Yeah, a lot could definitely still happen. G3 recognizing that there's a little bit of a third party in play at the hands of Existence, so they seem to be focusing on positioning in a way in which they're going to be able to pull something out of the bag. We do have Unique pulling in on towards the side of Lag Esports from the water tower area. As phase 2 did pop up, and it did continue on towards the eastern side of the map. However, it did move away from the water for a majority amount of time, and Unique pick up 4 kills. They do take down the side of Lag Esports from the outside, and again, Unique doing unique things by being aggressive, controlling on the outside, and you know, just pushing their way in from the edge of the circle. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. And talking about pushing, I mean, we're seeing the players from Gun down in the south there. They've now also started to push on in. 4KT in the surrounding area. We got the first shot coming in towards Yogzi. So now, here comes 4KT applying the pressure.
Oh,
Cola Boy now
nice.
coming up with a quick rotation. NTX gets sent on off into the lobby. And, ooh, Gun sprayed pretty thin on this one. Again, Short Boy Slim, the last remaining player for the Gun team.
Short Boy Slim has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He's going to be the real Slim Shady? Or is he going to fall flat on his back and get taken down? It's 1v4. He's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Up the stairs he goes. But at the end of the day, Mongor going to clean things up. And that is a squad wipe onto the hands of Gun from Slime 4KT.
Yeah. Things are really quite interesting, especially on this match.
Yeah.
It's an interesting approach the teams are taking to the zone, you know, the way they're getting involved in these engagements. Now we see the players here from G3 just situated on the side here, just south of Al Azhar. A few teams in the surrounding area, just spread out across the hills. But they've got a fairly decent position, you know. Not the best building to be in, but the position really isn't bad. They're situated, I think they're situated fairly decently.
They are definitely not situated too badly. Sorry, I'm actually for some reason a little bit tired. I might need to get a little bit of a drink of coffee into my blood stream to wake myself up a bit, or this game starts heating up. That could be another form of energy to the veins for myself. Yonkous gonna pick off a knockdown onto Unique. A second knockdown comes through as he tries to enter the building through the window. Unique definitely not afraid to take the shots back off, but unless they chuck out 3-4 smokes in towards their knockdown comrades, or Yonkous looks to push on through. Yes, indeed. Brengod is going to push on 4 now. Unique are down to 2. The confirmations come through. Vortex is going to get dropped down to his knees. And Skydo's left on his own. This is a lovely engagement coming out from Yonkous to take down a very aggressive edge of circle team in the eyes of Unique.
Yeah, all those mates that they have pushing up, it really does pay off. Again, for this round, though, they don't have such crazy med counts, but, I mean, they definitely have aggression. So I think they probably boosted themselves up coming in from Sanhok, pushing over in towards Miramar, just coming in with the aggression, not waiting for anyone, being absolutely ruthless. And now Skydo is caught in a very tough position as he's slowly getting surrounded by the Yonkous team. They start moving in. Oh, they are really hungry, thirsty for the action. Up comes Pennywise, pushing in on Skydo.
But then a third party for Nibble. He gets a kill, but that's going to be instant. Caught by Pennywise on the Willie. Says he may have taken out one of our teammates, but it's only off the back of us focusing on another team. Great response from Pennywise. Instantly pushes Nibble back. And that was a great engagement from Yonkous.
Yeah, beautiful response that we've got there. I mean, the ability to change over that quickly. You know, just spotting the players up on the hill, finding their heads, sending them in. And now, this is going to be an interesting one because we've got a few minutes still left on the clock before that zone starts moving forward once again. And we head on over in towards the next phase. But things are slowly starting to heat up as the teams are getting closer and closer, really getting stuck in these engagements. And there we go, the players there from Yonkous now starting to make their rotation, trying to get ahead up in towards the zone. And the shots, of course, now flying in here as the players are just getting stuck in these engagements. Wow.
Mercury from 777, so clean with those shots on the Mini 14. He got a double knockdown on 2 out of 3 remaining Pain Esports players, so it leaves Kingaman left on his own. You're also seeing Slime 4KT play around I call it the mole hill, so to speak, because it looks like a mole somebody's face. The mole hill of Miramar on the Spaza Gaming. Yeah. They pick up the kill, and Spaza are down to now 3 players.
I mean, Mercury is doing some fantastic shooting on that far end. You know, unfortunately for Pain, they are split up a bit. They got their last remaining player now coming in from that western front. So unfortunately for Pain, you know, that split would kind of save them, but it didn't really do much justice for the team. But I mean, well done to Mercury. As they say, you know, Mercury is poisonous. And now we see exactly why.
Oh, I like it. I wasn't good with science, so I would barely know anything like that. You know, flexing your big brain, DK said I see, and I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. I'm also okay with the fact that Mercury has indeed confirmed the kills, and Kingman is, of course, left on his own for this side of Pain. He's going to rush into the center circle, desperation move with the bike, but he's going in blind. He gets out. He's now going to have to prone down and hope that he doesn't get spotted out inside the next couple of minutes at least, while Yonkous are going to now push in onto the edge of the circle. They're not in just yet. Well, a couple of players have been able to wrap around Existence. Existence have been here for quite a while, to be fair, so they are familiar with their terrain, but are they going to be able to defend it against Yonkous?
Yep. That's going to be the big question. And, you know, Yonkous, as you can see there, they're starting to move up in a very interesting approach. We've got one player just hanging back, just supervising the whole rotation while the rest of the squad now gets their butts on into zone. And so far, they've actually managed to make a fairly decent rotation, managing just to evade the shots for the time being, find a decent spot.
Indeed they have, but shots are being fired up by Bren God. Does tickle that player of his distance pretty nicely to the point of pushing him back into the building. Can't argue with that one. Cannot argue with that one at all.
I mean, the Mini 14 doing some fantastic things there in the hands of Brent God.
Definitely doing some fantastic things. But with the circle shifting down south, it's going to put a hell of a lot of pressure on all of these teams up north. Aphelion, Apex, Yonkous, Existence, UAE, G3 Temper, Outsiders, Nibble, Dark Dragons. They're all going to have to find some kind of position in circle. It's a little bit better for UAE because they had the anchor player already in Maniac. So if the full crew send it in, it's going to be a beautiful squad push into the circle from UAE. That's the benefit of having an anchor player inside the circle. And Kingaman goes down at the hands of Maniac. Nicely played by UAE.
Yeah. But we're seeing quite a bit of movement, as you mentioned. You know, all these teams up in the north now having to find a spot to battle things out for the coming zone. And we see the players there from AOK making their way on over towards that eastern side of the zone. The Outsiders now taking a very wide rotation, rotating all the way around the eastern end and almost coming in from the southeast, moving in behind 4KT. UAE, they're getting caught out there by the Nibble team.
Dark Dragon's taking a couple of shots off quite nicely on the G3, but Nibbles are going to be under a lot of fire. Ronnie gets knocked down at the hands of Maniacs. That's nicely done. And oh my lord, UAE are going to look to push. This Matrix is going to go in hard on his own as of right now. But is he going to be supported? He is going in a little bit blind. Satan is going to be backing in. The backstab comes through. Satan gets a knock on the Matrix, but now Sahil along with Maniac are going to provide that support for Matrix. Oh my lord, but a bit of a side sweep at the hands of Nibble, but Nibble will get knocked down in return, and that is going to be Satan left on his own for Nibble. Can he pull something off big time? Maniac manages to pull off a first aid. FPP mode for Satan. FPP mode for Satan. He's going to go up the stairs. He gets one knockdown. But it is that teamwork that drives on through. And UAE are going to survive as a 3-man team. I respect that push from Satan.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very decent push that they had there. Fortunately, it worked out that they were able to get the jump in on Nibble. And Nibble being spread out for that situation there didn't really work in their favor, as we saw there. But the Dragons now here getting shot by G3. Hits coming in from behind us. Everyone is now once again starting to push forward, trying to get ahead into zone. And here we have the next phase now coming in.
Oh my lord, and it goes towards the Nipple Hill. That's what I call it. It's what I call it, where Spaza Gaming are on top of the beautiful area overlooking all of these teams across from the Impala Mountains. They're the only team as of right now inside the circle.
Yeah. And I'm seeing this is going to be, this could be potentially quite difficult for the Dragons and the players from AOK to make a successful rotation into zone, because they need to get past UAE and 4KT that are still situated just on the outskirts of zone.
Oh, outsiders have come in from the outside into the southeastern edge of the circle, which is pretty healthy. G3 Gunner trying to deal with Aphelion Apex. Aphelion Apex have been somewhat tracking G3 for quite a while, to be fair, through the last couple of circles. It is just a 0 and XOR left on their own. Cage was knocked down. I don't know if he's going to be able to get revived up. I don't know if it's even worth going for the revive. Yes, it is. So 0 going to be looking to keep the pressure onto G3. G3 still up as a full squad on the northern side of this map outside the circle, but they have UAE to one side of them. They also have the last couple of players rolling in to the circle from the side of Dark Dragons, but Dark Dragons are going to have to disengage away. They drop out of their buggies. The shots are being fired up towards this compound, but again, UAE are behind them, and it's going to be a double knockdown onto the players of Dark Dragons. Wooden of G3, Temper picks up a kill and takes a couple of bodies with him. So 6 kills so far for G3 Temper.
And we've got quite a few teams just scattered up ahead, making things actually quite easy for them to pick off those hits. Because we still have UAE trying to find the shots over towards the Dragons. The Dragons now trying to get ahead of the blue zone.
Oh my lord! Oh my lord! That's going to be Wooden get knocked down. However, 6 God was there to return. 6 God was there to return, but 6 God has to deal about going into the blue zone. Indeed, he's going to rock into a buggy. One wheel blown up, but it doesn't matter. The back tires are going to drive him into the edge of the circle. Aphelion Apex have still yet to be dealt with by G3, and Aphelion Apex yet to deal with G3 fully as the circle centers up away from the mole hill where Spaza Gaming held onto, and AOK are down to just 1.
Yeah, now things are definitely starting to heat up. With the teams are running out of space, they're running out of hiding places. And now AOK, as you mentioned, down to their last surviving player, G3 and Apex battling it out around that drop way up in the north. But they've got about 40 seconds or so remaining on the clock. Then they need to get on into that zone. We see 4KT now starting to put a few shots across the zone over towards the outsiders on the far end. So this is going to be a very interesting zone to see where the teams are going to be pulling into and how they're going to take these fights, because there's no cover aside from one tiny little shack situated in the center of that zone.
We're all going to be leaving it as late as possible to enter into the circle. Aphelion Apex going to use a vehicle or two to try and find not only a position on the edge of the circle, but a little bit of cover as well. Spaza Gaming pushed in from the outside of the hill to take down the last remaining player of AOK, and then outsider Slave has a pro down, but he gets knocked, leaving Pounds on his own. Pounds is going to come in slowly behind, but the vehicle blows up. Coco comes in, and that is going to be a squad wipe on the outsiders. The final 4 teams left in the lobby. G3 has Gunner knocked down. Slime 4KT putting the pressure on. Aphelion, Apex are still in the game as well, and Flacco is gonna prone down, but Aphelion, Apex are gonna be put under pressure by Spaza Gaming.
And this is especially a tricky zone as we don't see any players in the current zone.
Wow.
So everyone are just scattered out around the perimeter of the, or what do we have left of the previous phase? Now they need to try and find their way on up. And as I mentioned, as you can see, we just got that little shack over there. E3 just hiding behind the rocks, trying to see if they can outlast the rotation on 4KT as they now make that push in. But the players from Spaza coming in with the laser shots. Coco just absolutely dominating the zone so far. We've seen so many hits coming in from Coco. And now we wait to see whether or not they'll be able to capitalize on that. 4KT now making their quick rotation into the shack. Not the most ideal position as it's also not really in the zone. It adds that extra element of just getting them that much closer.
Exactly. And the fact that they push in as a duo as Flacco picks up, Shank the Slime 4KT from behind. Flacco picks up a knock. Can he confirm the kill before the blue zone is gonna start closing in? Indeed, that's the case. But as he stands up, Coco finds a play, finds a kill. And that is Spaza Gaming setting themselves up for a juicy chicken dinner. 3v2 against the Slime 4KT crew. The knockdown comes on, followed on through with the push, and now it's Fix down on his knees, and the last player of Slime 4KT, Mongor, inside the shack. Coco's gonna go in for the final blow, but a lovely pre-nade, a beautiful pre-nade, but it's not enough as the teammates of Spaza Gaming are gonna support him, and they end up getting the chicken dinner.
I mean, that was just beautiful aggression coming in from Spaza in that final play. The way that they were just using the zone, using the players' vulnerabilities to their favor. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. They finished off with 13 kills alongside that chicken dinner. Coco, they're picking up quite a few kills right there at the end. I think he picked up 3 kills just in that final few zones.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal performances coming in here.
Whew. Those circle shifts were very, very challenging, DK. Like, very challenging. Not only was that phase 1 massively against the grain of the playing path, but they were not afraid to, I wouldn't say like hard shift, but they ended up in an area where we very rarely see the end game played through, and it was very heavily in the open.
Super exposed position. And I mean, well done for 4KT though, moving up into that shack.
Yes.
No, I think that was a crucial position for them to take, to just kind of edge themselves in. But I mean, how was those final few shots coming in from Coco, just sending them in towards G3 as they, got up to try and get that first in? Well, they pulled it off. But wow. Just insane plays they coming in from Spaza.
I would say, as much as I appreciate that Fex and Mongor pushed in to that shack, they really should have been aware of the fact, or at least Shanked, if he wasn't, that there was still a player of G3 temper either behind them or essentially beside him, because they did get the knock and kill onto Gunnar earlier on, and unless that's an instant kill, yeah, okay, there's a chance he might be in the opposite end of the circle, but come on, what's the chances? So that was the only real kind of like mistake from Slime 4KT in that game. I can understand why they were focused more on their position in the circle, but I'll always say this: take out the people directly around you, and it allows you to focus more on pushing into circle, and that doesn't matter whether it's phase 1 or phase 7. So that was the only mistake. Other than that, a good game from 4KT.
Yeah, definitely a very decent performance coming in there. And I mean, just having a look at that at the standings there, strangely enough, it's a little bit of a change up this one. Got quite a few teams with very low kill counts.
Yeah, so, Spaza Gaming in first with 13 kills. That's understandable considering the position they held on to. 4KT in second with 6, 7, 8, 9 kills, and G3 Temper with 9 kills in third. So the top three hitting near enough to the just under slash just above the 10 kill mark. But then it does drop, kind of quite drastically, as you referenced. Aphelion Apex with 0 kills in fourth. They really need to develop their aggression. Because you saw it, I think it was in game 1 where they finished second or third, and I touched upon, I said, hey, they got 0 kills, but the placement, all well and good. I'm quickly seeing a trend from Aphelion Apex. That isn't going to cut it. It might cut it in this Invitational League for a little bit. It might cut it in other tournaments. When you're talking about PMCO and the higher levels of PMCO, which these teams should be looking towards, that lack of aggression is not going to cut it. So you really need to rapidly work on that, in my eyes, Aphelion Apex. Don't know how old your roster is, but definitely work on your aggression. Outsiders in 5th with 1 kill, AOK in 6th with 1 kill, Dark Dragons in 7th with 3 kills, UAE in 8th with 6 kills, 777 in 9th with 3 kills, Yonkous in 10th with 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kills from Yonkous. So it's like, in my eyes, that was a win of a game despite only finishing 10th. Existence in 11th with 1 kill. Nibble in 12th with 3 kills, my apologies. Pain in 13th with 5 kills. Unique in 14th with 4 kills. KHK in 15th with 0 kills. Lag in 16th with 0 kills. Gun in 16th with 0 kills. Lag in 17th with 0 kills, and Blackjack Esports in 18th with 0 kills. So yeah, you're dead right. There's a lot of teams with, kind of 0 kills.
But also considering the blue zone was doing quite a bit of killing as well.
Yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, that's why I will always say that, having a little bit of extra aggression, definitely always kind of think about the long game, have the kind of relevancy of being controlling into the mid-late game. But if you don't have the backbone to fight when the circles are shifting away, you are going to get compounded, and we don't see enough of that backbone from some teams anyway. And that's just, because you can only control, as a team, you can only control what you do and how you position yourself and how much you want to fight, right? That's the only thing you can do. And some teams, and I've mentioned this before, and it's something that I really lean on, you don't position to survive, you position to control. So if that position, even if it's on the outside of the circle, even if it's far away, you still position to control. You don't position to survive. So, some teams, they need to step up the aggression, and when they do, they'll find that not only are they more confident, but they will naturally get more stronger results, because the kind of earlier they maybe take a squad out, the more freedom they have coming into phase kind of 5, 6, 7 onwards. So definitely it could be beneficial to have more aggression.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a momentum you can build up. And we see that, especially with the teams that make it up into those final circles, they might start off a little bit slower, but they gradually start gaining momentum, and it kind of results in them making it all the way through. So yeah, I fully agree with you. The aggression is a very essential part of the overall performance of the team.
For sure. Well, you know what? I think on that note, let's head to break, but we will be back pretty soon for game number 4 of the day. It's going to be heading back on over to Erangel, day number 4 of the 777 Invitational League. See you guys in a bit.
heart and they are beautifully aligned. But sometimes it's hard to remember everything I've done that's brought me to this space. I started with embers, now a raging fire is burning in its place. I'll never surrender, rather try and fail and fall a million times. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I know as close as I am now, I will struggle, I will shout. There's no stopping, there's no doubt. I'm on my way. There's no stopping, there's no doubt. I'm on my way. I know as close as I am now, I'm on my way.
There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was the Billy O.T. The winds blew hard, her bow dipped.
And we are back for the final game of the day in the 777 Invitational League. Myself, Imperium, and the wonderful DKZA beside me. It's been a hell of a day. Some weird plays, some weird wins, some weird circles. But it all comes down to this final game of the day in the hollow grounds of Erangel.
It's nice to come full circle, starting on Erangel, going out towards Sanhok, going out towards Miramar, and coming right back on in. I'm quite excited to see what the teams are going to be doing in their calls now. All fueled up and ready to go. Got the adrenaline and the aggression all set. So I'm quite keen to get into Erangel to see what the flight path is going to be bringing us. And of course, how the teams are going to be approaching the match. So yeah, quite excited and... Ooh. Interesting flight path.
That is, you know, that's a straight down the middle, north to south. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt kind of circle. That's, you know, done and done. There's not really much to talk about with it. I do wonder if Payne and Blackjack are gonna both drop in Pachiki. That's probably the biggest thing that's running through my mind right now.
Yeah, because we haven't really seen teams challenging each other too much, aside from, as you mentioned, that Pachinki position.
Yeah.
So I agree. It'd be quite interesting to see where they're going to be going. KHK, of course, now dropping out, heading over in towards Saverni, as per usual. So aside from Pachinki and the potential that we might have two teams pushing into there, I'm also quite keen to see if we're going to be having another southern zone or if it's going to
Fair.
be moving into one of the other directions. Because we know now a southern zone is quite aggressive. You know, as the game progresses, the teams
True.
have limited options to get down into the south. But I'm keen to see what's going to be happening.
Fair play to Blackjack. They're not dropping in Pachinki. They're respecting once again Payne's ability to control that city and even control city fights in general. However, they are dropping relatively close by to a number of teams, AOK and not 777, but Lag Esports. G3 gonna go into that farm area pretty normal, and Yonkous and Outsiders once again clashing in the Roshawk terrain.
Yeah. Wizzy Kage in the kill feed also running a few players over. That's always an exciting way to get the party started, to get the match underway. And yeah, as you mentioned, we've got the players here from the Outsiders over in Rosa going up against the team there from Yonkous. Swave now just trying to get enough loot. There's several players just over towards the western side. And that zone, of course, shifting over in towards the south again. But we've got a southwestern zone.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's a pretty massive southwest circle. Like, that's not southwest mainland. That is just like southwest, you know. That could very much be a military island circle.
Yeah. Or even if it moves down to like Quarry Primorsk region, that could also be quite interesting. But fortunately, we also have that bridge in play. We saw some crazy plays coming in the first matchup on Erangel, where we had several casualties, was resulting down over in that western bridge, and maybe we'll see a continuation of that. The teams just putting in the shots, and of course, while we see the players from Blackjack now getting hit there as Lag starts applying the pressure, but they're also feeling the sting from AOK, who's moving in from the eastern side.
Plus, Blackjack started this game only as a 3-man team. They've already lost one. The third party from up the hill at the hands of AOK is going to end up getting the better of MG, and now it is Cheddar that is left on his own for the hands of Blackjack. Lag still have a full squad. AOK, they have a full squad, so it is Blackjack, unfortunately, that suffered the biggest amount of hassle in between these two teams.
Yeah. And of course, we see the players here from Yonkous still on the move, now on the prowl, trying to find the Outsiders. We can see Swave right there in the thick of it alongside Pounds. So a fairly decent position for them to be in, having two players in such close proximity. But of course, now we wait to see whether or not they'll be able to capitalize on that, as we see Pennywise and his teammate now starting to push up right there alongside them. So this could be a pretty tough one for the Outsiders, as Yonkers are pushing up quite aggressively.
If Outsiders had a player across the road, like I believe they did in the first Erangel game, I would say they have the advantage. But I would still like to see Brain God join closer to Jerbot. Jerbot is going to nearly lose his life to make it a proper 2-2 split for Yonkous. But I do think, for the most part, Outsiders do have a little bit more of a spread out, compromising position. However, Aimbot is pushing forward, using the smokes to his advantage, trying to look for the flank, but Brent God is aware of that. Brent God gets knocked. And Aimbot, credit where it's due. I may have highlighted the risk, but the reward is mighty as Pounds indeed comes in up to Julmenk, and Yonkous instantly down to 2.
That's a pretty decent defense that we see coming in here from the Outsiders. We still had 0 on that far offside. You can see him now just starting to rotate on in. And now the players from Yonkers are having these tables turned on them. So big ups to the Outsiders for bringing in that play, just swinging things around And, giving some nice aggression in retaliation in response to the Yonkous who were trying to push on in.
You know what? Like, to me, and even if Yonkous do win this fight, because it's not over till it's over, as Brengod gets a knock, I do think Outsiders have straight up been the better team inside this Rozhok train. Brengod is, oh my lord, could he have any less health before getting knocked down? Zero's gonna, of course, be punished for that open drive. And Yonkous, oh my god, Brengod, one more bullet, hell, a feather on your body would have suffered the knockdown. That's a lovely Uzi spray from a distance from Pounds. It's not over yet for Outsiders. Yes, they do have the body disadvantage, but Swave is on the roof of the building, looking for the higher elevated engagement flank onto the players from Yonkous.
But unfortunately, Yonkous is in a fairly decent position. I don't think he's really going to be able to get enough visuals on them. Bounds, maybe, on the other hand, might. He's situated in a fairly decent... The way that he's coming on in from there, I mean, he could really capitalize on that. But there we go. Swave now just making me instantly swallow my words. Finding a beautiful shot
my lord!
in towards two players.
Oh, man, DK, Outsiders, they're not bad. They're not bad at all.
Yeah. But do you see who's coming in from the south? The Dragons are lurking.
Molotov gets thrown out by Pounds, and it's a nice retaliation coming out from Yonkous. Brengod gets the knock on through. However, at the end of the day, Swave and the Outsiders come out on top. They clap through, and there's going to be two players left for Outsiders. Dark Dragons are going to wait on the hills of Rozhok to try and take out Outsiders. All the while, teams are pushing in to the circle. There's a cluster of 5 or 6 teams in the center of this phase 1.
Yeah, things are definitely starting to heat up. And I mean, but how was that molly, though? That molly that came in from Pounds? That kind of just sealed the deal for the players.
Yeah.
They're from Yonkous. Amazingly placed molly there. I mean, that one, well done, well played. Woo! Some hot and spicy stuff. But of course, now looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening in that centralized portion of the zone, as there's so many teams we got to exist now, starting to move in the direction of G3. Coming up bit by bit, heading in further towards them. So many teams now just in the vicinity there. This is where it's going to get absolutely heated and pretty spicy.
Man, and with so many teams on the center of this phase 1, it does leave such an open area around the kind of entry points of this phase 1 circle. Aphelion Apex going to have an easy entry point. Unique are going to have a relatively easy entry point if they go across the North George Bridge down towards the South George buildings, past hospital, and basically on the western side of the map. UAE have loads of space in front of them. However, they don't know that as of right now. And Existence gets a couple of shots off onto G3. They're taking the hurt, the pain to them. But Existence are going to get clapped right back in G3, come out on top.
Yeah. Flacco stepping in with that clutch. Just stealing it away. Finding the hits. And now they've got that region pretty much, quieting down. There's no teams really pushing up aggressively towards them. We do see the players from Spaza situated towards that bridge, Pain over towards the north of that. But we could see a little bit of action coming in between Nibble and KHK now, a little bit further up there. Yeah,
it's just around by the chopstick buildings. There's a lot of little buildings around that area, so I can't imagine that they're going to clash too much. And indeed, that's the case. They're separating either side of that kind of road and respecting each other and going, look, it's not worth taking a fight in this phase 1. Let's just get to our respective positions. Unique still inside the blue this phase 1. Sign for KT off the back of getting a early kill or early knock, should I say, onto KHK are now going to be wrapping around the northern side of Everest into those open fields on the northwestern side of this phase 1. Dark Dragons now move away from Rozhok Hill. We're going to rotate through the Headshot Valley area to enter in probably just shy of Pachinki while phase 2 is about to pop up.
I'm not gonna lie. Oh, yes! That is exactly what I was hoping for. Loki wishing for that zone to shift, and we don't see any teams on Sosnovka.
Oh my god. I'm gonna repeat
But I think
this.
UAE is gonna sneak across.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, UAE are gonna have an easy rotation on the Eastern Bridge. Hell, so will Aphelion Apex. And if I were like Outsiders and Dark Dragons, I'd do the exact same thing. I would do the exact same thing. For G3, honestly, if there's a boat by their location, they should look to send 1 or 2 players across on the boat. Otherwise, I don't know if it's worth sending a full squad. I think their risk might be a little bit too much depending on the timing. Spaza Gaming are going to actually send 1 player across on the bridge. However, they're going to get caught out by Pain. Pain does get a knock, but it gets knocked in return. So that's a really strong response rate from the Spaza Gaming players. But as the rest of Pain are going to push in, Hanad is going to be the first to drive forward on that buggy. But he gets dropped to his knees by Horus. And now Beast is going to follow through. Why, Pain, are you pushing him 1 by 1? Why? That was incredibly wasteful. Giving it so easily to Spaza in terms of kills and that control. And now it's just left with Beast and El Chapo.
Yeah, we'll call that a silver platter performance.
Yeah.
They're just delivering themselves.
Like, you know, veg on the side as well. Well seasoned, crisped. And Spaza Gaming are going to eat that fight up massively. Oh, he knows where he is. Horus has the spidey senses tingling and knew exactly what was going down.
Yeah. But we see Nibble also just situated over towards the north. So there could be a bit of an interesting position. But now, KHK trying to move on towards Ferry Pier. G3 just coming in with some beautiful hits off the back end here. Now, I mean, this is looking pretty tough there for KHK.
It's also looking pretty tough for G3. They're already a player down. Booden got knocked down. Sully, that's going to give him the time to flank around on towards the northern side of Ferry Pier. Maybe get that flank position on the 6 God. I think 6 God, who's on the roof of the building, might have a little bit more wits about him, is looking in towards that flank potential area because he knows off the back of Gunna getting the revive on the Booden that both of those 2 players are going to cover the direct Ferry Pier train.
And I mean, look at the engagements going on as the Nibble team is now starting to apply the pressure. El Chapo stepping up, putting a quick few shots in towards Spaza. So managing to quickly rotate out in towards that wizard tower. But we've seen quite a few hits, quite a few engagements actually erupting all along the coastline here as the teams are spread out. Oh, beautiful play from Sammy Boy.
Oh.
The lone survivor.
Sammy Boy, more like Danny Boy. The pipes are calling. The pipes being your death as he looks for the shots up. Oh, well, he wills his way through and gets the squad up onto Spaza Gaming. A little bit of a feels bad, man, for Spaza Gaming, to be fair, because they did get third-partied by Nibble Esports to begin with. But then again, with their position being so integral for Phase 2, there's no surprise that teams are going to fight and clamor their way for this position. Slime 4KT behind the Ferry Pier area, behind the side of KHK, are now going to have to deal with 777 on the buildings ahead of them, in front of them, should I say, where it gives them a higher elevated position. Nico has the sightlines from the windowsill.
I'm really looking forward to seeing where this next phase is going to take us. Because, I mean, we've seen quite a few engagements happening over on this western side. KHK, G3, we've got 4KT, we've got 777. Everyone just going absolutely ham. Oh, down goes G3. KHK coming in with the wipe. LK once again stepping on in with the shots there. But what I'm excited to see now is what's going to happen over on Sosnovka. Because we've got a few teams sitting on that far eastern side. Casually chilling, waiting. No need to move. I want
No
to see
need
where
to
this next
move.
phase is going to take us.
No need to move indeed, as we have Slime 4KT, 777, and also Dark Dragons in around each other. Dark Dragons looking to be the victor of the spoils on the hills above Quarry, overlooking 777, Slime 4KT. Slime 4KT have 2 players knocked down. They're now down to 2. Mangor and Aimer on the beach lines, like the Cold War of the past. They're on the beach side, prone down,
Yes.
hoping they can survive. But this isn't war. This is a game. This is a sense of reality of the pressures of life as a 4KT try and survive as the next phase pops up. And my lord, we are getting another military island finish in Erangel. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna blame you, DK. I'm gonna blame you.
I'm not gonna lie. I love me some southern zones. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it, and we're always asking for southern zones as it forces so much action onto these teams. It puts them in such a difficult position. And now we've got the team starting to try and rotate up. The
Dark?
players from 4KT now just putting the hits across in towards the Dragons. Nero getting hit in the process. We still have a kill. Blade now starting to push on in. Aimer getting hit by Mercury.
Yeah, but
Some
like,
crazy plays coming in across the board.
yeah, but Dark Dragons were so bad in that moment. They knew what was going on, and they just continued to not put pressure onto Slime 4KT. And Aimer, although he ended up getting knocked down, it wasn't like he was knocked down by Dark Dragons. He was knocked down by somebody else. By I think it was 777. So like really, Dark Dragons. A little bit of a sleepy play. They have at least gotten their wits about them right now, and they have only lost a player, but could have been so much better.
Yeah. And of course, now that action is just absolutely erupting over in the zone as the teams have pushed across. We got Lag now facing off against the players here from KHK. The shots just flying on in. Ooh, really aggressive push coming in here from KHK as they're not wasting a moment, just rushing straight on in. As you can see, Hainsley and LK in a hot pursuit.
Oh,
Quite
lovely.
thirsty for those kills. Oh! Wow.
So good. So good from Hansley. Really great flank position. That does leave 1-9 left as a solo player for Lag Esports. He gets a nice knock, but in the end, the response rate, the push comes through, and LK finishes off Lag Esports. KHK are up to 7 kills, but look who's coming in. Look who's coming in for the sweep. Nibble Esports spreading their wings on the outside of this compound, waiting to strike against KHK.
Yeah, they're definitely looking just to nibble away at those health bars, you know, just coming in with those third-party hits and just to capitalize on what they've got. They're moving in with a full squad in their favor, up against 2 players just up ahead. And we see, of course, now the players in the rest of the zone starting to get picked off as the blue is making its approach. They are forced to make decisions, forced to make plays. And yeah, we're going to see quite a few casualties on the outskirts of the zone. There's still 3 teams remaining, but of course, man, it is going to get pretty spicy in the zone. Moving in with so few numbers. So
Honestly,
much space still remaining.
It's brutal. It's straight up brutal. Like, it's just straight up brutal. For Slime 4KT and Dark Dragons, once that phase 4 hits and the next circle does indeed continue on to the far western side of Sanhok military base, but it is the military island to be fair. And Slime 4KT gonna lose another casualty. However, Nico, is he coming in from the outskirts of the coastline, the outskirts of Ferry Pier? His last first aid is gonna be pulled out. He could actually go into the... Why doesn't he go into the plane? Come on, Nico. Yes. Let's go. Let's go.
What a
Come
runway.
on, Nico. What a legend. You can do it. You can do... Oh, no. He's going to get taken out by Blade. And Dark Dragons. But will Dark Dragons look to use that plane themselves? The glider, there you go, that's what it's called.
Yeah. Well, they could. I mean, it still has a little bit of juice in it, so they could actually try that. They've got a very decent runway here to get enough, elevation, clear the water, and, make it into wood zone. So this is going to be super interesting. But of course, now, the teams are still just pushing forward. We're seeing a little bit of action in the kill feed as well as the outsiders and the unique starting to come in with the shots. We have got touch of
Sorry, but I have to stay in the perspective of Dark Dragons. I have to, because that glider is smoking.
Ooh, but Mercury is now looking at them.
It's on fire.
Look,
abort mission. No. Cheddar from Blackjack ends the journey for Dark Dragons as they're taken out. Normal service can now resume. DK, I just had to see what was going to happen to Dark Dragons on that glider.
I mean, that was just crazy. Well played there to Mercury and 777 just for finding those hits, sending them in across. That was, again, a silver platter performance coming in there from the Dragons.
Silver platter. And, again, Blackjack, the last player, picking up 2 kills for that. It's 2 free easy kills. Aphelion Apex inside the circle are going to have to now deal with Unique and outsiders. And, I talked about Aphelion's need to be more aggressive. No better team for them to come up against, to be fair. Unique are very aggressive, so if they can come out on top against Unique, I will be pretty damn happy and also pretty damn impressed while the next circle does center up in the arms of both UAE and Nibble Esports.
But I mean, what a brutal zone that is. The shifts that we see coming in across the board. I mean, but that is typical Erangel fashion. That unpredictability of the zone coming in. But what I love is the fact that it's happening down in the south. Just brings that extra element, that extra little bit of spice into the mix. And we're seeing some phenomenal performances coming in across the boards from the team here. And I'm still keen to see what's going to be happening down in the south. As you mentioned, Apex alongside Unique. Who better to go up against to show us their aggression?
Yeah, for sure.
Than the players here from Unique who just find that head out in the water, sending the outsiders off. Now we're down to 8 teams.
We are down to 18, but also Aphelion Apex, they're going to need to think about their position inside the circle because they're currently outside it. So how they look to play it is, of course, going to be incredibly important. Skydo is still on the coastline outside of the mainland entry point, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get himself up onto land to join up with the rest of his squad. Sign 4KT, who have survived as a 2-man team with 2 kills, looking to enter the very northern edge of the circle. But it's a incredibly risky place to be because it's so out in the open with no real cover around them. But sprays are being fired on through. Fex nearly finds Ronnie. That's a nice little bit of spray that came through from Fex.
Yep. A really good spray, but now they're starting that rotation, and I think this late in the game, moving up with a vehicle could be one of 2 things. Either a big brain strat or just looking for trouble. Because
I think that was incredibly risky from Slime 4KT entering so deep into that circle at that point in time, but I can respect the attempt. Unique have gone ahead of Aphelion Apex. They've gone somewhat ahead of Aphelion Apex. They chucked out the smokes. They've now created a little bit of a surrounding space. Yes, one of their players is knocked down, but on my eyes, that's a little bit of a win-win situation. But still, Aphelion Apex are up as a full squad. You hear the shots coming out from Unique. Aphelion Apex have a spread. Once again, the circle shifts up north into the hands of Nibble. Look at that crossroad. Look at that low ground. There's absolutely no cover down the bottom of that hill on the edge of circle. This is a Nibble win if I've ever seen it. Like,
Yep.
if Nibble don't win this, unless the team absolutely pushes up the hill and crash them, if Nibble don't win, it's the biggest throw South Africa. Or biggest throw Africa.
Yeah. I mean, they've got everything counting in their favor. They've got the positioning, they've got the numbers. Now they must just capitalize on it. You know, just play the board, have the teams just picked off. But they're still going up against a few tough teams here. I mean, we've got UAE sitting on a full squad. We've got Apex on the side of the unique team there. We've got the players from KHK and 4KT now starting to move up as well. But the hits are coming in from Nibble.
Perfect. That's what they need to do. They need to literally pick people off. And yeah, okay, they could in theory rely on the other teams around them taking each other out. And that's all well and good. But how much is that going to help? It's going to help a bit, but not enough. Not enough. Because they allow too many teams around them to pick off the rest of the kills. That's going to leave Nibble in a position where not only are they not getting enough kills, but they've allowed the team to grab the confidence to fire on through. Aphelion Apex now going to send a couple of players in towards the edge of the circle, but so are UAE. UAE have more of a strength, but Inspector goes down. Cage is going to be down by the side of the rock, but this is a cluster blunder. A crazy play of Zero is going to come in to get the push, but at the end of the day, UAE come out on top. They take down Aphelion Apex with the help of Nibble. Absolutely crazy, but it was do or die. It was now or never, as finally we are left with 3 teams.
And I'm really glad to see Nibble stepping it up and putting in the work, putting in the performances. You know, they're just picking off the shots, and we've been seeing them just absolutely capitalizing on this hill. They are playing the king of the hill game. And so far, they are holding on really strong to that. They've got so many casualties just surrounding them. I mean, this is going to be a very easy clap if they continue forward with this momentum.
Oh, Willie has a beautiful flank position. Willie has the perfect flank position once he doesn't get knocked. His teammate is being revived by Ronnie. The confirmation comes through with a fantastic grenade from Willie. It's going to be 3v3 up the hill. Willie goes back. Space is being created. I would actually say now UAE low-key have the advantage because playing high ground at the late stage of a game, especially considering how strong of an angle of this hill is, UAE have the advantage.
But don't forget about Hainsley.
There.
He's still out in the blue. Well,
That's 3 first aids.
rocking it out over here. I don't think it's going to last too long. But yeah, I agree with you that that could definitely be something that counts in favor of UAE, especially in this last game. But Nibble seems to have the angles covered. UAE now starting to force their way on in, just trying to get ahead of that blue zone. Nibble in position, just waiting in anticipation to see how they're going to take this rush, how they're going to come in. A few shots coming in from Hainsley off in the distance.
And then a grenade comes through from UAE to get the knockdown on the Vindog. Nibble, you're slowing down. You're being too quiet. You've allowed UAE to push in. The counter not come through. Sorry, not should I say Ronnie goes down and Willie's left on his own. 1v3. UAE are going to come out on top. They played on the high ground. Perfectly not come through. A second one. Not quite. Good attempt, Nibble. But UAE fully deserve that chicken dinner. I will retract my statement a bit in terms of Nibble. I understand why they didn't win it, but they definitely could have been a bit more aggressive when it came down to the final, 6-7 players. Like, I saw Willie at one point looking in the direction of Hansley. Yeah, Hansley was taking shots, but he's in the goddamn freaking blue. Like, he's really going to be able to do something. Willie had to stay focused, and then Vindog got absolutely hounded, pun intended, by a fantastic grenade. So definitely a little bit of lack of focus and maybe lack of aggression coming out from Nibble at the very end. But UAE did really deserve that chicken dinner.
But I think it comes down to the prioritization. As you said, they were focusing on the player out in the blue zone instead of focusing on UAE, who was pushing up on them. Had they focused all their attention towards that point, it could have been a completely different finish. You know, Nibble
Yeah.
could actually have clutched it out and been able to gain those last few kills. But what a comeback that was coming in from UAE. We honestly thought, you know, they were going to get sent
Yeah.
back. And they turned it
Yeah.
around completely.
It's just that, you know, the right amount of control at the right time, right? Yeah, like so Aphelion Apex had the right idea of pushing in, but they weren't as coordinated as UAE, right? UAE had like 3 players push across the road with those smokes, whereas Aphelion Apex only had kind of one followed by another one. And I like that idea, but you know, the manpower wasn't there behind Aphelion's push, whereas UAE had the control and aggression in the final couple of minutes when it counted, when it was needed, and that is, it's just so good. Like, it is so good to see. 5 kills and 3 of those were in the last circle. That's the thing. It's not like UAE had a massively aggressive game. They generally stayed pretty crowded across the board. And as much as I'll always say, hey, you need to be aggressive, etc., controlled aggression. They were aggressive when they needed to be. Still a good game for Nibble, to be fair, picking up second place and 10 kills. KHK in third with 7 kills. Aphelion Apex in fourth with 4 kills. I'm honestly, I'm proud of Aphelion. I actually low-key am proud, because I do think they did a pretty good job in that game. Unique in fifth with 1 kill. Slime 4 KT in sixth with 2 kills. You had Triple 7 in seventh with 1 kill. You had Blackjack in eighth with 3 kills. You had Outsiders in ninth with 4 kills. You had Dark Dragons in 10th with 3 kills. You had Lag in 11th with 3 kills. Pain in 12th with 6 kills. G3 Temper in 13th with 2 kills. Spaza Gaming in 14th with 3 kills. Existence in 15th with 0 kills. Yonkous in 16th with 2 kills. And AOK in 17th with just 1 kill. That was a weird game in terms of quite a few players died to like the blue zone / you know, the water. It was, you know, just because of those crazy circle shifts.
It was, but I mean, one thing that to me was also pretty impressive to watch is how UAE were able to keep their cool regardless of the position they found themselves in those later zones. But just still managing to move on, breathe, rotate, and then come in with an absolutely phenomenal surprise attack in on Nibble. You know, but also I just want to talk about that our glider approach onto the Sosnovka Island.
Hey, desperate times call for desperate measures. Blade Airlines tried something valiantly, and I stole that from YouTube chat. Thank you very much. You know what? Like, for as it was said, for the memes, I respect them for it. Like, I'm not a fan of glider and like scrims and comp. I wish for it not to be seen. But for like that moment of entertainment, of the desperation of the blue zone, it was absolutely hilarious.
It was a valiant effort nonetheless, but I mean, yeah, we saw how that one ended up. But either way, I mean, it was still a quite an entertaining zone.
It was.
Even though it had shifted so aggressively over onto that southwestern portion and just stayed there. I think the teams coped with it fairly decently. You know, would have liked to have seen a few rotations maybe done a little bit differently, maybe a little bit more you know, the teams getting across over towards the island a little bit faster instead of those delayed rotations that we saw. But aside from that, there's not much to complain about, really.
Like,
I think it was a decent one.
So for me, it's and this is a lesson, and again, I learned this from Zute. Is it's not only about how you position yourself as an entry point, it's how you position yourself to exit, right? It's how you position yourself to actually reposition on the next circle, right? So, you know, we saw those kind of wild pushes on phase one towards the center, phase one. That's all well and good, and I can respect that. But as the circle started teasing more around the military island, like UAE are a prime example of a positioning for an exit as well as an entry. The second that circle on, I think it was phase two or phase three, they had easy access from the eastern bridge, and that is that exit, right? There's that exit from their position down into the next circle, and just little things like that. Teams can very heavily learn from a whole. Position yourself to be able to exit as well as enter, because if it's easier for you to exit, whether you do that through killing or just core position, a mix of both, whatever works for you, but you gotta be able to exit away from your current position into the next circle or into the next position.
And it's actually quite interesting with you saying that, because now that I think of it, that is many times teams that we see that perform really well and make it into those later zones are the ones that just so happen to find themselves with a decent exit strat.
Yes.
And that's most of the times where we see the teams succumbing to the opponents is their exit strat. I don't think was necessarily too well planned or given too much thought into, and they find themselves in a pretty exposed position, and they get sent on off.
Oh well, it is what it is. It is what it is. Another day is over here in the 777 Invitational League. All these fantastic African teams are putting in the work to practice to try and get better, and it's a pleasure to be able to bring you these games as a streamer, as a caster. Thank you so much to DKZA for joining me in casting these games. If people aren't following you already, where can people find you on social media?
Well, they can find me on YouTube, on DK Gamecast. They can find me on Facebook, DKZA Gaming, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the same handle, DKZA Gaming.
Cool. Go give him a follow on whatever platform you predominantly use, as well as subscribe to him on his YouTube channel. You can, of course, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EVT_Imperium. Thank you so much to 777 Esports for putting all of this together. Absolutely amazing bunch of lads. On that note, I'm going to end it here. Have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic evening. Have a fantastic week overall, wherever you are. Look after yourselves. See you all soon.